fight the greatest battle, you need the greatest warriors. But heroes must be forged in ultimate combat, competing for the ultimate prize.
And try and pick up the kills necessary. Lori out, dodging out so much damage for the boss. Actually gets the trade-off.
And welcome back, there you go, to the Arena of Valor India Summer Champion. We are now leading up to our third placement match before the finals. And for this third one, we're going to be watching Alliance versus Unity. But before all of that, my name is Asteroid. Here with me now is Riku. And joining us later will be Luxuria, as well as I Request a Duel. So, well, we did have a very, I would say, moderate time for our break, just to let these teams kind of mull over what's going to happen for this night. It's going to be action-packed here, and we'll just start it off with our schedule. And there you go for the third placement match. It was Alliance versus Unity.
Alliance versus Unity. Earlier, for those of you who just arrived here, you could take a quick recap on what happened. The first match was between ExDee Gaming versus Alliance. Alliance was not able to adjust their composition, and of course ExDee Gaming was just so strong from draft to their rotations. Everything was just was under control, and it was a complete dominating 3-0 against Alliance. Meanwhile, we have arrived at our Unity matchup from that Serenity versus Unity, whereas Serenity, they play their composition so well, but Unity, though, really forced that kill graph. At game number 3, it worked so well. They managed to get back into a 10k, 6k gold deficit, rather, but due to a call on the Dark Slayer, even though their base was wide open already, it led to their demise. But you know what? They're still going to be fighting for that third place against Alliance.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking, like, in this third match, if Unity doesn't change up how they kind of approach their games, like you said with the kill growth and whatnot, we all saw it a while ago, it does become a sort of liability because people know that they force the kill growth time and time again, and because they keep seeing how this kill growth is being played, it's not a catch-off pick anymore. It won't get you off, won't catch you off guard. You'll be able to adjust to it accordingly, and again, it just becomes more of a hindrance rather than a kind of spearhead for you to get that W. So we're going to have to see if Unity can actually, kind of muddle through and use something else. We have seen them on their, I think, quarterfinals game with one of the other teams here where they implemented a Wonder Woman. So maybe we'll see that come into fruition. Anyways, the matchup for game number 3, or rather the third placement match, game number 1, is going to be Alliance with offlaner All Mights, Mage with Zero, Marks as Marksman played by Fayez, a jungler will be Obex, and Observer shall be Badman.
Yes, and for Unity side, we've got Blaze as their offlaner, say Pranophobia as their mage, Old Excalibur as their marksman, Chai2 as their jungler, and Zed as their observer.
Yeah, we're just waiting for our first game to start off, but today has been I would say a lightning fast best of fours. We have seen ExDee Gaming versus Alliance here go 3-0, but Alliance did have some, I would say, really good matches that it could have actually been them getting that W, but I think ExDee Gaming was just that too strong. They had more understanding of how to play the game, but still Alliance did a pretty dang good job on the second semifinals match that we had. It's also a 3-0 where Unity kind of started pretty good. Second game was all right, and then third game is where they kind of faltered the most, but still we are yet to see them if they kind of mix up going away from that Kilgroth. Definitely looking forward to what they can, kind of bring to this table.
Yeah, I felt like Unity already made the necessary adjustments as they did so well at game number 3. I mean, after locking in that L'Oreal together with that Kilgroth, it just means there's a secondary threat already. But you know what? Let's head on over to the draft, as I feel like we're going to be seeing another Kilgroth and maybe a Preda on Alliance side, hopefully, because they've been locking in Natalia Diao-Chan all throughout this tournament. Diao-Chan all throughout, Natalia once up against ExDee Gaming earlier. So Murad out of the field, which would mean Alliance, Preda first pick. I feel like, interesting. Yeah. This is a different mid lane, which they have secured. So L'Oreal for their first pick.
So L'Oreal for their first pick. I mean, I believe they did use this. I'm double checking. Not really. Actually,
yes,
they did not
it's
use
all
this.
Diao-Chan and Natalia. So this is a different dynamic now. We'll have to see whether this L'Oreal's gonna work. Because it seemed to me maybe they're not comfy with other picks aside from Diao-Chan and Natalia. But looking at that Senial, again, one of the things that comes into mind for me when you lock in that Senial and you respond with a max, which is totally normal, but I would want to put it later into the drafting and secure my most important ones, like an Alice. I would get Kripnek Alice, and because you already have your Senial, I would. Oh, interesting. So they decided to go for the Maganga. So this worked, this composition worked wonders for, I believe, Serenity on the Joker and Maganga pick.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of poke damage as well as sustained damage output. And this is just, the Clown Conundrum. Definitely something that has been used before, like you said, and has good chunks of damage. It's very, how do I say this, stable scaling. You don't actually see them kind of faltering in any parts of the game. It's very smooth from here, and that's where Alliance has to kind of use this Kriknak, which is to kind of, kind of deter this, I would say, scale into the fray once again, which is the Thresh. Definitely love that metamorphosis. You get yourself some stun, you get yourself that extra tanking, and even, huge body to kind of body block the skill shots here as well, just kind of push out people with your crowd control.
Yeah, and normally Crash users would, I mean, if you lock in the Crash, then it's totally going to be a full, well, not full dive, but it's one of the options that you could do to overwhelm your enemy. There are different options, like, for example, okay, we're going to get the objective, we're going to hog the objective, we're going to hog your jungle, but there's also the option of pushing your lead by doing tower dives and doing sieging. And with the zoning that you could do and the sustain and the burst damage coming from that Joker, I feel like if they get that 2 to 3 skirmishes being won, then they could try to keep on with that lead and with that aggression.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how they kind of set up the lanes here. But I'm thinking it's going to be Zenial versus Max, pretty standard. And in the bottom side, it should be a possibly a Joker versus Violet, yeah. And then Kriknak, of course, plus the Ryoma for the jungle. So again, I think like level 1 team fight, it should actually just go either side because it kind of seems a bit more on the standard here or on the same pathing. What do you think? Or rather, same damage output. So they kind of would have stable 1v1.
Interesting. We'll just have to see if that's what they're going to be aiming for.
All right, so we'll give it on to I Request a Duel and Lex take on the third placement match. Guys, take it away.
Yes, take it on and take it away we shall. But right as we get into this third place, we see the side of Alliance being very, I was going to say aggressive, but actually just responding to that aggression coming up from Unity, who tried to invade the jungle there. You can see Obex all on his lonesome trying to go for the Might Golem steal, but this is obviously very predictable, could get punished for, but Zed just going to walk on right past him and he's going to get out there. But yeah, once again, joining me is Luxuria. How are you doing? And what do you think of this third place matchup?
Well, for me personally, I'm really liking the comp coming out from Unity. I hesitated for a bit, simply because of we saw this comp before. We saw this comp earlier on, and that comp was brought up by. Let me just quickly go through the notes thing.
I think
Serenity. Yeah, there you go.
She brought that fact up about the Maganga and Joker pick, and that's something they seem to have learnt from Serenity because it works so well against them.
Yeah, so Serenity actually brought that out, and the only reason I'm really liking it is because of the vast amount of healing that you actually get. So a ton of sustain from the Maganga, from the Zenial when you come in with your ultimate, and on top of that you have Crash to frontline almost everything. However, in this time we do not see Crash with a Disrupt. Instead, we are seeing a Crash with a heal. So that is the different thing that we will be seeing right here. However, you know, I'm still confident because Unity probably learned from their lesson, learned from the match beforehand, and they kind of would know how to pull this comp off. Abyssal Dragon is now up, and they are basically posturing themselves around this main objective that would probably set the pace of the game.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there about the Unity team comp. I'm really liking what they're bringing to the table as a whole. And then you look over Alliance, neither team really drafted bad, to be honest. Alliance, though, kind of picking pieces from the meta. You have the Max that we see so often, Violet Lumber, L'Oreal for the mid, and that Kriknak who's just able to burst people down as well as kind of jump into the front line alongside the Lumber, which I think is really nice. And a bit of a change up here that was also mentioned during the draft is the fact that Zero now on this L'Oreal instead of these more, I guess, stationary mages such as the Diao-chan and the Natalia. So that's interesting to see how that will play into their team fights and their positioning. But right now, both teams being fairly passive in a sense. I'd say Unity are the ones with a bit more control right now. It's only a very slight gold lead, but more the way they've been moving around the map. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're the ones to try and attempt to take the Abyssal Dragon. But either team probably looking for that first blood as a bit of a safeguard to that.
Yep, very good poke coming out from the side of Unity, and with that poke immediately transiting into that of Abyssal Dragon. But of course, Alliance may have got something to say with Crash using that Metamorphosis.
Crash going in for the engage for retaliation coming out from Bedman on that Lumber, though, gets the knock up and helps All Might pick up that kill as he joins in on the fight. It's going to be a double kill. Actually, 2 kills over 2 for side 3 make that for Alliance, and they do take down the Crash alongside, I believe, Ryoma, who is up in the front lines, but there's going to be the trade out kill. However, this does open up the Abyssal Dragon now for the side of Alliance to finish off. So overall, Alliance winning out there in terms of kills and objectives.
Yep, and the real issue with Unity actually adopting into this team comp, if you were to ask me, I personally just think that it's not quite working out for them because, you know, when Serenity brought this team comp out, they probably have trained with it. And maybe Unity have, I'm not sure, but I mean, just looking at what happened then, it is just that the Max was just bringing so much CC down. Metamorphosis was used quite haphazardly, if you're going to ask me, and just used to basically shoo Lumber away. But I personally think that is a waste of such a big ultimate like that of Metamorphosis. Could have been used much better, obviously, with the Abyssal Dragon take. Not much of a goal difference just yet. In fact, Unity is still leading by a couple of hundreds.
Yeah, and that's true there. What you brought up about the ultimate usage, where you see the Crash with the initial engage, but then it came up to Bedman on that Lumber, who actually had a much better knockup, and is with the timing of Max arriving with his own ultimate to outbalance that fight, to turn it around for the side of Alliance and kind of get that, I guess, comeback kill in a sense, a bit of a bait-in almost, but it's more just making use of the situation where the side of Unity really didn't follow up on the Crash ult compared to Alliance's engage.
Yep, and on top of that as well, the only reason Serenity can actually pull that off is simply because Unity's team comp, if you actually look at the previous match, what they actually pulled out very high DPS heroes, not high burst heroes. However, the side of Alliance, they have the likes of Crickneck and Violet. Both of these, they do not want to go in for the DPS. What they really want to go in for is basically the high burst, right? The one-time boom and then shut you down kind of thing. Whereas Unity, with this particular team comp, they are banking their buck on the fact that you are going to be in a team fight for a pretty long while for Maganga to actually stack up those poison stacks, and on top of that, the consistent healing, and also for long enough just so Zeno can actually come down in time to heal everyone up.
Mm-hmm. And although you did bring this up before, although we do see Zed going in, needs to be careful, but ultimate is up and will be used this time. Badman not even hitting a single member with that knockup on the Lumber, and will get punished for it, caught out alone. So I think these two heroes, the Crash and the Lumber, are very similar in that sense, especially the role they play for that team and the engagement factor there with their ultimates. And now we see a bit of a different situation. It's a bit of a turnaround, really, to what happened just before. This time, it was actually the Lumber who failed with the engage on the ult, and it was Unity to pick up the Abyssal Dragon. But something I was about to touch on right before that fight happened was the fact that you said Unity is still ahead in the gold lead. Prior to that, prior to the fact that Alliance already got the first Abyssal Dragon for themselves, and that just goes to show that that Unity is doing a good job with their rotations, and it's something we seem to point out before, that they have really good macro control over the map. So I think that that's something Unity has advantage of Alliance at the moment, and why they're being able to keep the gold lead, keep the pressure up in the enemy jungle, and even why they've just taken the mid tower down from Alliances. They're that step ahead of them right now. But we'll see when it comes to the team fight phase if Alliance can turn that around. As there's going to be the engagement, retaliation by Zed with the Metamorphosis. They're going in a lot of damage onto Fires, but really the target they're going to be Bedman, taking him out in the front line. Zero also going low, and Kresh has to keep the rest of his team safe on this backline until Roma can jump back in, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be able to pick up the kills one by one, and Zero, you do not want to stick around there, dodges out the Maganga damage, but won't be able to escape. But Roma does dive in for that kill. Maybe not the best decision, but still Unity, I would say, coming out on top for the most part there. You've also allowed that Daniel to just freely split push the top lane.
Yep, and that's the issue, right? So with the comp coming out from the side of Unity, they really want to go in for those team fights because they know they can. And what Alliance can really do is just create space. You've got the Lumber. But what really happening right now is that Crickneck, although high burst, but it's just lacking in all kinds of farm. I mean, sitting at level 10, Obex, you're not in the best position, especially when Crickneck, when you have such high burst, you can basically just go in for a 1v1 up against, say, Joker or even Maganga, try to eliminate those heroes first. But then, judging from the team fights, Crickneck just went in and just took a whole lot of damage, but not do anything else. And also, one more thing that I really want to quickly touch on It's just Zero's mate's choices here. At this point in time, in the Butler team fight, how good would it have been if that was a Daoshan, right? Where you can just go in with the freeze, with the root, and have a team clean up. However, he just doesn't seem all that comfortable on this L'Oreal pickup for himself.
Well, now that's the thing. It's interesting that they actually first picked for L'Oreal. And so, in a sense, you could say, well, Unity kind of played around that. But I was actually thinking it might work out well with the mobility alongside that, the crit knack, and they're able to jump around the back. Meanwhile, All Might getting taken down, I think, is a 2v1 situation up there between Zenio and Ryoma. But I thought it actually worked well with the team comp they have. But I think that there isn't enough front line, just leaving it all up onto the Lumber, as we see that Unity going to be able to take the Darkslayer for themselves. So already 2 Abyssal Dragons, a Darkslayer in their pocket, all of a sudden really making use of this gold lead. And this is what I was talking about, that macro play before. It's more of a decision making, I think, is quite good on the side of Unity, and team fights is maybe where they need to just step it up a bit. But they've got here to the third place match. They're looking to prove something against the Alliance, and we'll see what they're able to do with this Darkslayer buff if they can continue to make use of these objectives.
Yeah, I mean, just they are putting down a lot of damage already, even before, the actual team fight start. I mean, Zero is at 3/4 health, and there you go.
Well, there's going to be Bedman with the initial knock-up onto most of Unity's team, but look at that, caught out on the backline. They're going to catch out that Kriknak you mentioned. Obex just destroyed in an instant, and soon will be the base to follow as we're going on to that mid-high ground tower, taking it down with ease. And the damage they're dishing out to All Might and Zero is too much to take. Bedman going to fall to it, and it looks like Fayaz caught in the crossfire, and it's going to be game number 1 of this third place match, going over to Unity 10-5 at 11 minutes 50 in. So a pretty clean game for the most part. I mean, Unity did not lose a single objective after that initial Abyssal Dragon.
Yep, I mean, that was a really, really clean game. I mean, just take a look at this. It was just down to rotation for the most part. And then, of course, very, very well-placed Metamorphosis coming out from Zed on that crash. Take a look at this replay really quickly. So they are priming up for this particular tower. Some poke came out from Fires, from that of Violet. But here you see just one poke from Excalibur on that Ryoma. Violet goes so low, and this gives the side of Unity just clear advantage in terms of numbers, and Obex goes in, not quite deleting anyone, and the heal comes through from Zaniel just for the show off, I believe. And here you go. It is pretty much clean up at this point in time when they clean up the high ground tower as well as the backlines. Max tried to do something, but nothing can really be done at this point in time. I mean, these Unity, they are just looking so very strong, so very convincing, and Violet goes down before the corner.
Yeah, well, with that, we will hand it back over to Asarai and Riku. Let us know what you thought about that first place match, and, maybe what Alliance could do differently going into game number 2.
Thank you so much for that one. I request a duel and Illyria. I mean, that was just interesting. I mean, yeah, they did say that after, Alliance lost that first Abyssal Dragon, they never let up any other objectives. Another thing that I kind of noticed here was that Unity kind of approached the fights a bit too linear, wherein they forced in I think it was Alliance, who forced that fight with the Kriknak, and then they lost. Unity was the one who won, actually, so that was my bad. But yeah, they forced too much immediately with the Kriknak and everything. They blow all of their important damage skills in one go, and if Unity can survive that, they're basically out of steam already, and Unity just felt like a team that can outlast that kind of initiation for Alliance, albeit that they had to kind of again use their skills much more intricately.
Yeah, in comparison to the other games, actually during the early phases, they weren't very aggressive. Everybody was just trying to scout each other out. And I think the reason why Unity won as well is because they did the better job in farming in terms of securing that Abyssal Dragon and just keeping up with the lead and, not giving away kills and things like that. And obviously it's very the number one sign of is that a lot of members from Alliance's side were quite low leveled in comparison to Unity. And after that, once you know that you've already hit your power spikes, L'Oreal didn't come online. Violet never really reached her spikes as well. And it became a classic Crush game, whereas they could just completely continue on with their push. Crush will dive in. Even though he didn't have Disrupt, it's still a good utility skill. And they didn't. I don't think a Dark Slayer was acquired, right? I don't think so. Kept on with the sieging. It was just rinse and repeat sort of thing. And there was even a fight at mid where it was a 4v5, and they still won that because they got their objectives already, even though they're quite low. But it just says a lot that the damage is enough, even though they're just 4 people. What more if Joker was involved?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I keep tending to forget this, but Maganga, aside from being a sustained, mage here that does, again, sustained damage, he is also a sustained mage. He can actually heal up his team with that, I believe, that wave of his. So as long as, the Crush actually stays in the middle of that fight, even though he takes a substantial amount of damage, if the Maganga go in his rotation and hit that Crush, and as well as his, the other teams who actually, his teammates who actually go in front of him, he gets that heal. And there was actually a good point as well for game number 1, wherein they were talking about how this L'Oreal, or rather this mage from Alliance, doesn't look comfortable using the L'Oreal.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling it's more of a takeaway pick. Just because we only have one ban, might as well use our pick to take something out of Unity, anyways. Because I feel like in the hands of Unity, it's just gonna be a monster. But let's take a look at the MVP of the match. Look at that, sexy Sentinel. There you go. That's gonna be Blaze. Congratulations for being MVP of game number 1 of our 3rd place match series. But yes, Sentinel did awesomely as well. Yes, you. No deaths whatsoever, and level 14 almost at max, I suppose.
Yeah.
But Unity, Alliance, they have a lot to work with, especially their early game. I feel like if they fix their early game, they could fight at par with Unity. But it might be a difficult time if they sorta not I want to see an Alice pick on their side. I want to see. Maybe it's okay for a Natalia pick as long as you're comfy with it, but at the same time, so many hero combinations.
I know. I totally agree with you on all of those. Another kind of addition here that I felt like was missing for Alliance was that, they got the first Abyssal Dragon there, but I felt like they never truly contested Unity. Once Unity got that ultimate already for the Crush, you already said it a while ago, wherein they would just go and force team fights. And the Crush always used his ultimate, wherein I think it was always in the jungle, which it kind of bypassed, or it kind of pushed away everyone else kind of from Alliance's side to respond to their teammates. I think there was a fight in bottom lane on that first game, wherein the Crushed for Alliance, I believe that, I think that was... but this is the Crush. Yeah, the Crush.
Okay.
And then the Vial was pushed out, and they were able to kind of, how do I say this? They were able to isolate certain targets, and then they kept replicating that. And because of that displacement tool, it just allows them to kind of force these quick picks, and then kind of snowball from that one. Comparing that to the Lumbar, who can actually just knock people up rather than push them back. In terms of like trying to get these certain pickoffs, it kind of works much better for Unity than it does to Alliance.
Yes, exactly. And I guess what they could do is maybe if they want that takeaway game thing, maybe they could try out the Crush for themselves as well. Maybe it's because Crush fits in a lot of compositions, and it might suit Alliance with a more aggressive stance and just try to catch Unity off guard, because I feel like if you give Unity that space, then it's going to be a problem.
All right, problem indeed. Let's go into our second game draft and see if Unity can or if Unity will kind of, keep this ball rolling, or will Alliance try to go for that steal and make their own pass at that goal?
Well, normally second rotation, if they see a Sentinel, they go for Max, but I want to secure my top picks first. I want to see Max later on. I think one of the tactics that you could do is not to reveal too much, and that's the reason why early on. But Jinna is a very decent mage. It was popular when L'Oreal wasn't still in the meta in the game and stuff like that. This was the go-to mage at this point. But I'm seeing a lot of weird things here. It's been a while since I've seen Fennec in the... No, I remember back in the meta when Fennec was in the jungle, so maybe if I don't see a jungle being locked in, then maybe it's gonna be a classic Fennec jungle, or it could be a silent Ormar though. Scud, Ormar, they're choosing between the two. Maybe they just want to have some fun, but a Scud and a Crash though. Quite an aggressive lineup. It's all pretty much in your face with one range damage dealer, which is the Lindis. So if they're gonna lock in that Wonder Woman, and yes, it is a Fennec jungle.
Fennec jungle, like you said, not something that you see too much every day. So just a quick overview here for Unity. Jinnar is a mage that has an ultimate that allows him to stay in the fight longer, like a ball of fire, I think, is the best way to describe it. So, again, like Riku said, it's going to be all up in your face. And then for Alliance, I'm not really sure. I haven't really seen Fennec in a long time, but what are, his, what are his strengths, or what you're supposed to look out when you go up against a Fennec?
Fennec, definitely in terms of his stats, it hurts a lot, as well as taking down objectives, towers. I remember you can... a pro player told me you can solo Dark Slayer using the Fennec, and that's how strong he is during the early phases of the game. But not during the early phases of the game. I meant in the later phases of the game. So I'm kind of curious how they're going to be making this work. I believe Fennec is pretty good in terms of control, and has a lot of mobility offered. I guess not as bursty because you have to land in all of your stacks first in comparison to Joker, where you can just one-hit combo anyways. Skill combo anyways in comparison to auto-attackers, auto-attack marksmen. So I guess I'm really interested for what Alliance has to offer, because I see a Scud on the other side, so Unity is definitely all going to be in your face, which would mean L'Oreal and Fennec would have a time, probably not have that space. They'll probably try to gain some distance a little bit before anything else happens. Yeah. But again, it's all about execution, and Jinnar, I'm so excited for this mid lane.
Yeah, they also, Alliance actually also implemented the last pick Wonder Woman. They were thinking if it's Malik or Wonder Woman, but I think as a team player, a Wonder Woman just gives you so much more utility. I do believe you some defense when she uses her ultimate from if you're like behind her, I believe.
Yes,
so yeah, exactly, shielded. So that's gonna at least help out the L'Oreal as well as Fennec here to kind of last longer in the fights. Anyways, for game number 2, it's going to be casted by Luxuria as well as I Request a Duel. So guys, you know what to do.
Thank you for that one, Sarai and Riku, and we're right into the action. A very aggressive start from Alliance, a bit similar to what we saw in game number 1, but they managed to back off here. Actually, the side of Unity going fairly low and being forced back in that sense. But Luxuria, what is going on? Where did the Jinan come from? Where did the Scud come from? And where did the Fennec come from? It seems like Alliance saw what Unity were doing with their draft, and they're like, okay, let's at least pick something out of the deepest pockets of our bags here with the Fennec.
Well, okay, before I actually break down what happened really in draft, I think the saying still stands true, right? No one remembers the 4th place. So both of these teams, they are trying their hardest to go and fight at least to get that 3rd place. And Fennec, okay, for Scud, okay, let's take a look at Scud. Scud's ability is basically high displacement, very, very good sustain in that lane with his A ability. I hope I actually remember correctly. It's been a while since I actually touched Scud. So Oh, sorry, that is the passive anabolic rage. So there you go. So very good sustain for Scott and very great
but not
displacement.
good enough in a 1v3 situation early game. I mean, you gotta give it to him as a 1v3. I wouldn't expect many people to live from that. But look at this, All Might catching out Excalibur. So all across the map, Alliance actually picking up kills, but meanwhile Unity picking up themselves a Abyssal Dragon, the first one of the game there, and now going to be clashing in with Bedman and Fayaz. Fayaz once again picking up that Alice pick, and we'll have to see how that goes for them in game number 2, as we saw this previously, but wasn't... I would, if I had to be honest, I think that it was a part of the comp that was also going alongside with the Diao-chan pick, and it wasn't really working out. We see Fennec getting caught up in some action right there, getting taken down. But going back to that draft, you were talking about Scud. I think Scud is the least of my worries in this. I'm just more wondering about how Jinan and Fennec sit in the current meta.
Okay, for Scott, it's just high displacement. As for Jinar, okay, Jinar is a hero that is he's a mage, right? Really high damage over time mage. However, you need to be in really close proximity to actually dish out any form of damage, right? You do not quite have the long range like that of Praetor or even Delshan or even that of just throw me another name, Maganga. There you go. Right? You do not have that range like those heroes. So Gina, I mean, just look at the team comp itself. They are working very, very close range. They have Lindis, far, you know, can attack from afar, but they have the Ryoma, they have the Crash, they have the Scud that can be very good front lines and deal.
Oh my, getting caught out alone. So this is another thing that Unity, although after giving up the first 2 bloods that swung back, now got themselves in a 3-2 situation, could even change that up more. Hairs, they're going to take down Obex. There's going to be the Scud picking up a kill for himself, and there's Metamorphosis used as they engage underneath the tower to try pick up more. Zero going very low Blaze, I think picking up another one for himself. Double kill for Roma, actually. So with that, and the double kill for Blaze on that Scud, and another Abyssal Dragon for themselves, although All Might is over the walls lurking, looking for a possible steal. They're going to send Blaze and Excalibur out there on the hunt to pick them up, and this is Unity's strength. They rarely came back because they organized themselves, whereas it looks like they, for the side of Alliance, they're playing on the back foot to reactions of what Unity's throwing at them.
Yep, and so we saw from that, you know, from that replay, really quick replay, what Scott can actually offer to the team. So Scott is actually very important, especially if you're picking up a Gina, where you can just toss someone into Gina's ultimate, or if not, then toss someone into the Metamorphosis of Crash. So that is an important role that Scott will be playing. As for Fennec, well, let's just take a look at Fennec. Where is he? Let me just figure it out. There you go, in that top lane. So Fennec's kit, it's all about the damage over time as well. Okay, he's got a slightly longer range compared to all the other marksmen, and he's great at taking objectives. That being said, he's not the greatest in team fights. He takes too long to scale up in team fights, and basically he's just not good. So what the line's gonna try to do with their team comp is they're gonna try to split push, right? Work with a 4v5. So they have Zero on the L'Oreal, Alice, All Might on that Wonder Woman, and then you have the Zenil, and then you have Fennec just split pushing somewhere else. But guess what? There's another hero that split pushes well as well, and that is Lupu, who can actually contribute more into a team fight, which they haven't picked up as well. But Batman may get picked up.
Yeah, Batman getting caught out, taken down. There's going to be Bex taken out within a second, and All Might left in a 1v3 situation up here, looking dangerous. And I rarely start to see, as you explained to myself and the viewers, of how that Jinan pick really is going to work well in this comp. And I believe Riku in the draft talked about it just being a really up-in-your-face kind of comp, and we see that so far. 11-2, they haven't really given any breathing space to Bad Alliance, and they're not going to give any more as they go for the Darkslayer. So this is a take I really like from Unity, that they like to do fairly often, and it just goes to show why I always compliment them on their macro play, on their rotations, and that quick decision making.
Yep, and one more thing as well. Ooh, Obex may get caught out here, but they just really want to go for that Sage buff that didn't quite secure. But anyways, one more thing for Gina is that his ultimate, right? The main damage source. Obviously, we're not gonna forget about the Sutra of Pain, where she just shoots like multiple balls out. But yeah, so his ultimate has a really low cooldown, and it does a ton of damage over time. Right? It's not a bursty mage, but for all of this fight, you realize, you know, you have one main one that will be in front, and that would be Zed. And with Zed being in front, using Metamorphosis, bam, health barrier, and then Gina is basically free to do damage, and you see her Scud going in.
Yeah, there's going to be Metamorphosis. Doesn't really like, but All Might almost getting caught out there. Obex, once again, you said he can't stay in these team fights long enough to stack up and is just going to be taken down as soon as he's caught out in most situations. And we see a bunch of Unity actually within the base on the side of Alliance, but they're going to take down that bottom high ground tower and push on through. It's a 4v2 situation. Make that 4v1, 4v none. There's going to be the ace and possibly, probably, likely the game. Unity taking that 16-2, 18 minutes in and showing us why they went with that team comp.
8 minutes in, not 18.
Did I say 18? My bad.
There you go. 8 minutes in, really short game. We are seeing the MVP here would be Chaitu on that Lindis. And that was just an amazing team fight. I mean, amazing close, right? 8 minutes in, and it's all just down to how well the team comp basically is so coherent with each other. Not coherent, but then what is that word? You know, so well gelled. Gel? Yeah,
everything
together.
mixes together nicely, fits
There
where
you
it's
go.
meant to be, and that's what you see here with their engagement. They did they lose? I don't think they lost a single member when going into that base in the final engagement, but we'll see here.
Yep, so we do see Metamorphosis. You have that, not Metamorphosis, but rather you have Crash just standing in the front line, and then Ryoma as well, just putting in so much damage. You will see Fennec come in soon, right? So All Might is here to join in the fight. Fennec is from the back lines trying to take someone down, but will be taken down first by that Lindis, and all 5 members still standing. Blaze get the double, and this is pretty much the game.
Yep, and that will be game number 2. So back to the analyst desk where we have Asurai and Riku waiting.
Possibly the fastest game of this tournament, especially for our coverage. Anyways, my name is Asurai. Here with me now is, and game number 2 is at a close. That was just pure domination nation for Unity.
I have no words because you said it yourself. It could be the fastest game we have under our coverage is 8 minutes, and I would like to reiterate what Dennis said about Fennec. Again, we said in the analyst desk, he's really good at taking down objectives and especially towers with his with his stacks in. And the thing is, it was not allowed to be used because you know that there's a Fennec, then that would mean that one of their strongest strategies would be split pushing. Mm-hmm. And you noticed Unity almost always by the end of the game did a 1-3-1. They never let a lane, they all pushed at the same time. Scud was at top, there's a 3-man rotation at mid, and the bottom part was Lindis shoving the wave. They know that they're ahead already. They know that they have both of them have sort of mobility skills anyways. So, it just does not allow any sort of split push mechanic for the composition of Alliance. Alliance, on the other hand, had a decent comp, except that they were not allowed to scale into the mid phase of the game and into the later phase of the game rather. I mean, I am a fan of the L'Oreal and the Alice combo or synergy, but it did not show at all. I feel like there's aside from a strategic limitations of what Alliance has to offer for the field, in the battlefield rather, I feel like perhaps as well as actually I have no idea where I was going, but you know what? MVP of the match is Chaitu on that Lindis.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you were going here with this is that it could be that they're... Yes.
Yes, I remember now.
Okay.
I mean, I am a fan of the Alice and L'Oreal, except that maybe micro-wise, they might have a difficult time actually using it. That's the reason why we haven't seen how the effectivity of this pair.
Yeah, I was actually about to say the same thing. So, good job. Now, but yeah, just to add upon that, I mean, I was actually looking to see if if they were gonna go for something else, maybe like a teamy, because like you said, it might, like, I guess comfort wise, if they were gonna go up against Unity, who was gonna be all up in your business, you kind of want someone who can counter your business. So, you know, at least have that teamy to kind of go head to head with this one, because Alice, if she actually misses that hissy fit, and then, you know, everybody else from Unity can just kind of jump over that, it's going to be very difficult to kind of, you know, push them away. And even though you have the Zenyo here, or maybe even the Wonder Woman to kind of, I guess, absorb a little bit of that pressure, a little bit of that initiation, at the end of the day, they're just trying to body block, not really kind of crowd control. That definitely kind of made it very difficult for Alliance to, you know, counter them tempo. And you were seeing it happen so many times. Crash as well as Scud, all they had to do was jump in a little bit, smack a dabadoo, and then, you know, I see you, and then he just get the kills, and then they can't really counteract that.
Yeah, Unity is just so in their comfort zone. Especially with the Crash pick, they can just mix and match whatever they want to pair it with. Like, for example, okay, let's take the Lindith's jungle instead, and it just works well, and they have these sort of mini adjustments based on the opponent's draft or the opponent's strategy. Well, like what you've seen, it's a 1-3-1 in the map, and they're so confident, and that's the difficult part. How do you shut down someone just so confident entering into this match? But again, best of 5 series, there's still a few adjustments that could be done. Just it's a learning process for sure, but at the same time, Alliance is in full here.
Yeah, they definitely are in trouble unless they do kind of something to change how they play the early game here. It's definitely going to be an easy 3-0 for Unity. That said, though, Alliance is still a team that went up against ExDee Gaming that gave them a run for their money, even though it was a 3-0. All 3 games for that, ExDee Gaming had to fight and had to really fight hard just to get those Ws. So I'm kind of looking forward to see Alliance kind of bring back what we saw from this morning's match or this afternoon's matches, and maybe bring back the Diao-chan, because L'Oreal isn't really to be, you know, a juicy pick or a worth it pick for them. So unless they're kind of using this third placement match as a tester of if they can really use, let's say, a L'Oreal, you know, and if they're going to be effective in the competitive scene, go back to the Diao-chan. Maybe that's going to be something that they, you know, revert back. Anyways, third game draft is going to be underway, and let's see if it's going to be the L'Oreal or the Diao-chan or something else.
I want to see another Natalia pick this time around. Okay, Alliance is going to first pick Max, which I am completely, you know, I completely agree with this choice. Now, what does Unity do this time around? Ryoma and Senyo, just to match that global presence for sure. Ryoma, very good kit, absolutely devastating damage for sure in that combo, combo rotation rather. And let's see for Alliance though, because if they lock in that Joker, I'm not going to be surprised if we might see a mid lane Kreda just to what do you call this? Just to fight for this, you know, potentially this last few moments in their tournament. But a Nacroth pick instead. We've seen Nacroth in the tournament, except that it didn't work out so well. This is probably going to be our second instance seeing a Nacroth in this tournament based on our coverage. But if Unity locks in this Lubu, at least their split push is secured, their duelist is secured, and additional an additional person to be that annoying frontline bruiser, if you will, on the Unity side. But there you go, they're going for their comfort pick, Diao-chan.
Yeah, so back to form here for Alliance, and I'm kind of interested to see how this Nacroth pick will work, because I've seen it in, you know, the Philippine region before, and that was with a very super comfort pick here. Although, are we gonna see an
Fire and Ice hype? You see, it's Diao-chan and Ignite. So interesting.
Mhm.
Both of these guys are so vulnerable to each other. On the side of Alliance or Unity, rather, seeing a I believe a Ryoma jungle and then Nakreth jungle side. Again, two fishy mages, but both really contribute a lot of control, a lot of damage as well. If I were to pick fire or ice, what would you pick?
Fire for me, because yeah, I'm always hot.
Well, I'm going for Diao Chan because I'm cool like that. What? Give me some credit, man. I think I'm a fan of the Alliance roster or draft because of the Joker and the Crash pick. So they took off really strong heroes in the meta right now, and combine that with something that they're comfy with, maybe they'll do a little bit better in comparison to the other games.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just gonna be, like I said, super curious about how this Diao Chen and Ignis kind of, interact with one another, or rather interact with each composition, because I believe if Ignis is that particular hero who has a lot of range with his skills, he's basically just gonna throw out his AoE damage on one area and then just run away and then kind of set up for another one. It's going to be super interesting to kind of see how that works out when that's going to be Alliance kind of, forcing themselves in with the Crash as well as that Nakrod and as well and the Max additionally. So yeah, and they also have a Lubu. I really like this one because Lubu is such a tempo oppressor in the lane or even in the jungle. So we just have to see if this will be utilized well. Anyways, we're just going to go into a third match, and it's going to be Luxuria as well as I Request a Duel. Guys, you know what to do.
Yes, and here we are in the match that rarely counts for Alliance, so at least they got to make it count here. But Unity picking up the first blood, going in aggressive as always. It's a repetition of the last two matches that we've seen, but this time with a bit more success, able to find the first two bloods actually for themselves. And meanwhile, you do see that of, I think, okay, so Lubu went down to Alliance's Might Golem, I believe, and then Max was up at their Sage Golem, so we might see a bit of a trade out here and a bit more of a skirmish as Chai2 caught out, and he's going to get the trade out kill, so that's going to be Alliance coming back and Dao-chan actually catching out Blaze on the rotation out. I think they might be able to punish that and make it even for this early game, but there is going to be the Ignis. Cypranophobia on that Ignis pick. So once again, we see Unity coming out with the, off-meta mid, and I really like it. It really brings something interesting to these third place matchups.
Okay, I'm taking bets. Fire or ice, fire or ice. Lay your bets now before the game ends. Fire or ice, fire or ice. But you gotta ask me. I don't know. I mean, for Dao-chan, it is obviously a comfort pick, right? For that of 0. Basically, I think that's the Celsius. But that is the comfort pick for 0. As for Ignis, I'm not too sure how it fares in the current meta. Granted, it has got its usability at least, right? Especially when you drop your Mark of Fire on your enemies, then your skills basically gain an extra effect. Maybe a stun, maybe a slow, usually a stun. Yeah, wow. So that is interesting as well, but Abyssal Dragon, it's more interesting.
Wow, just look at that play there by Excalibur. High time Abyssal Dragon on the Roma, actually able to win out the 1v2 and pick up a kill. Not just a kill, a double kill for himself and deny that Abyssal Dragon. Although I feel like, oh no, Max All Might with the smash coming on through right into the bot lane. Does get traded out, but it was nevertheless a good execution finish. A bit sad to see Roma go in that way, but no worries, he'll be back up in just a second. So I do believe it's actually Excalibur on that Roma who started up Abyssal Dragon, got caught out and maybe hid behind it. Other than that, he could have jumped over the wall in attempts to steal it. But either way, impressive plays coming out from the side of Unity. Some good reaction there for Alliance. And yeah, for now, we do see just... I'm interested to see how this mid works, you know, as we say, the fire versus ice matchup, hot versus cold. And right now, they're gonna just disperse, do their own things, because Abyssal Dragon's still up on the board, but not for long with Unity around. They're gonna be able to secure that one without any contestants from the side of Alliance and back off safely. So Unity, it's fairly similar start. They've got themselves ahead, and I think this is where they're comfortable.
Yep, and the fight will get started right now. Batman do actually have the Metamorphosis up, but not quite using it just yet. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there's going to be Metamorphosis as you bring that up, and Chai2 caught out on the Lubu, and we do see Zed also in the mix of things, needing to be careful, and we're going to go in deep with that crash, but no more kills going over on the board. They did pick up Excalibur as well, to mention, though, and it's opened up a bit of a window down in this bot lane, which you can now see Cypranophobia on that Ignis rotating to trying to save that tower. It's going to be putting down the heat and trying to stop them there. Going to at least be able to make them back off, and now up in the top lane. So these side lane pressures going down, but that also then opens up the mid. So a lot to keep in mind, but I feel like Unity is a team that are going to be able to recompose themselves and then get back to the usual rotations we see them on.
Yep, but one thing's for sure. I'll say that I'm really liking the team comp coming out from Unity as versus Alliance. Only reason is because I don't really like Narcross. He's such a niche hero. Like if you don't ask me, Narcross over any other weird assassins out there, I'll say pick Irie anytime. I know Irie is not meta at all, but Narcross is one of those other heroes as well. It's not exactly very meta. Of course, you have super high mobility, but you just lack that insta burst like the other assassins do have. But here in the top lane, Zed.
Ooh, Zed going for the punish onto All Might. Blaze coming up just in case anyway. We do see Bedman here waiting for that Abyssal Dragon. Alliance know they need to get something back in return. But Excalibur just going to jump over the wall, start it up, do the solo take on that. The rest of the team probably going to help assist now. But it's interesting to see Alliance. They look, they see it's up, but then they ignore it completely. They have to go to the bot lane, stop the Lubu from pushing, and this is what's really good about that Lubu Excalibur, not Excalibur, Lubu Zenial pickup, as we see Chai2 having to back off. So Chai2 not the best fighter, but definitely a great split pusher, and in that fact, we also have at least in the early game per se, you do have that Zenial in the top, who then is going to be able to control that, as well as join in the fights. We always talk about that global presence he has available. Nice stun by Blaze, but they are going to get that bot tower.
Yep, they will be getting the bot tower. So, you know, the goal difference right now, approx 2k, not a big one for either side. And this is basically kudos to Alliance, right? Manages to actually get the first tower of the game, which is very unlike them. But obviously, I'm glad to be able to see them do that. But just look at
damage dropping down in the mid, and gonna catch out Obex in the midst of it as he tries to come in and help out his teammates, but it's all a little too late, and we see the Ignis really popping off now. And meanwhile, up in the top once again, Zed catching out All Might in a 1v1 duel, and he seems to be winning this out for the most part. He's been able to really bully that lane, and already he's pushing up to that tier 2 tower, but we see it's around the 7-minute mark. This calls for a Darkslayer take according to Unity's books. So they've just been allowed to play it how they want. And I believe, I think Asarai, Darkslayer not too happy, going to slap him around, picks up 1 kill for, I guess, the side of Alliance. But there is going to be, if Alliance don't step up here, which it looks like they're trying to catch out Zed, Blaze making a rotation up, but they will be able to get back to the safety of that tower. So not being able to make the best use of that Darkslayer buff. But what I was saying is, I believe earlier on, I can't remember if it's Asarai or Riku who said it, but they're talking about if Alliance continue to play like this, it's more than likely going to be a 3-0, and it was moving along that fashion, but all of a sudden, Alliance starting to group up, stick together. They might be able to make something happen, but Zero gets caught out alone Bedman stuck in the midst between Excalibur and Cypranophobia, forced to use the Metamorphosis, but it's all for naught, all in vain. He's going to get taken down for sure, unless All Might has something to say about it. Taking down the Ignis, and Blaze all alone on that Alice. Go for the solo queue. Supports need kills too. No! They don't get it. They get away, but they still poke out the All Might, helps kill that kill, and they're going to be able to back off, take the Might Golem with them, as well as some of the jungle.
I need to watch an anime where the lolly is basically a... Okay, but anyways. So...
I think it's like Ori no Shoujo. I suggest that.
Okay. Okay, maybe I'll check it out after the stream, but here in the top lane, Zed in this 1v2 up against Obex and Fires.
Yeah, we do see Zed up here in the top, and they once again doing fine for themselves. I mean, when you're versing that Zenio and you're trying to hunt him down, even if you get him caught out of position, he's usually able to escape, either be that through his just dodge ability or through the ultimate to get to the safety of his teammates. So right now, I mean, Unity saying 25.6k over to 18.9k gold, doing pretty well for themselves, and the 11 to 5 kills also answers that. But Alliance definitely putting up a good fight. They know this is their last chance to really make an impact here early. Yeah, that's not going to be good. Well, we do see these spicy hot plays coming on through from the Ignis, and there's going to be All Might joining in on the fight, but Zero being focused on that Diao-chan getting taken down, and in fact double kill onto Zed, and they're gonna just keep on going through. Alice keeping her teammates alive, the safety net. Fire's gonna get jumped on under tower, and look at Cypranophobia cleaning up with the kills. So I guess if we had to say so far on that debate, it's definitely the heat mounting down the ice.
Well, definitely. I mean, it is down to, you know, whether or not Alliance can actually set up to this heat that, you know, Unity is actually bring down onto Batman, and that is 100 more gold to Cypranophobia. Ooh.
Yo, it just looks like Cypranophobia spitting fire right now and spitting
this
hot
is
bars
getting
right in that face. You can't touch me. I'm too hot for this. Can't touch us. But we will see here as they break down that high ground tower, the mid high ground tower. They're moving on to the core. What can Alliance do for this? They're gonna try to
my lord, that's
falling down, and it's up to Fires. Batman actually gonna come back up on board. They might be able to make something happen with the crash. A good engagement here could turn around a 3v4 situation, but it's going to be tough. In fact, Lubu isn't even with the team at this point in time, so we'll have to see. The Lane the Death Spawners actually come back up, and most of the side of Alliance going to be in this fight. Obex another 10 seconds off, but the game might be over within that time as we see the engage coming through from Unity, but re-engaged by Bedman as he uses that Metamorphosis. Gets there very low, but he escapes with a sliver of health. I spoke too soon. The shutdown by All Might, and now we see Blaze, Excalibur, and Cypranophobia on the run, and this is an avalanche coming back at them.
Oh, try to actually going for the plays, going for the 1v3, picks up one, picks up second one, and all that's left is that Joker that's standing. I think it's all planned. It's all planned. You're like, oh, Cypranophobia, you got already 2 kills, triple kills for yourself. Let me have it too. And there you go. Try to going in for the highlight reels. He definitely got himself one, although they were relatively low, and he's a Lubu after all.
He got himself a special one. He got himself one that was play-by-play casted by Luxuria. I think that is more than a normal double kill here. And in fact, Chai2 has just been farming up all along, and I said Lubu isn't the best fighter in the early game, but when it comes to late, he can really hold up on that front line with a lot of lifesteal and just being that tank for his team. But it looks like Unity aren't done just yet. They're taking everything away from Alliance in this last game. Oh, I shouldn't speak too soon. I shouldn't speak too soon. Don't quote me on that, but we do see Cypranophobia taking down Obex, and there's going to be Zed joining in on the fight, helping out Chai2 on the front line. Meanwhile, fight going down in the back as well. They cleaned that one up there. It's left down to All Might and Bedman and Fayaz, but Bedman going to be taken out, and you can see the tankiness of this crash, but he's the last man standing, last creature for now, and there's going to be the core, and that will be 3-0 for Unity, taking the third place with style. GG, well played.
You know, for all the times that we've seen Gold lead, we've never once seen a game that actually surpassed a 10k Gold lead. I mean, just
This
look.
is 15, I believe, is 47
Exactly.
to... no, not 47, 27 to 43k, if I'm correct, around there.
Just look at how Unity is playing. I mean, they have an Ignis, not exactly super meta right now. Praetor is open, but Sopranophobia just went, no, I'm gonna play, you know, fire with eyes, and let's see who comes out on top. 0 degrees really getting heated up there all the way to 100. But here we see a quick replay. They just basically scaled through the entire jungle, took everything. Blaze went home. They don't even need the observer in the game anymore. They just look at the amount of damage just coming out of Sopranophobia. And here we see dominating, and you will see a legendary afterwards. Zenio comes in to join in for the fight. Zero gets taken down at a back line as well. Something goes down as well. And it's just down to crash that wimpy kid before the metamorphosis. And there you go, Batman. I don't know. Like, this is just impossible. Joker comes out afterwards, but there was no use whatsoever.
Yep, and we'll have to hand it back to Asarai, and must be sweaty after that match.
You shall not pass! Yes, that is what just happened there on that game. You saw the Ignis used to full effect. Nobody can actually get through his barrage of meaty, heaty fireballs, so to speak. But yeah, exactly. It was such a heated game wherein ice was totally melted, even evaporated when it turned into water. But yeah.
I'm speechless. Just the same reaction I have from Unity's game from game number 3. That was just, wow. Super, it's like, stop central. They were in control from early to finish. They just cleaned everything from all the high ground towers. They've gotten all the objectives. It's like you're just, you know, it's like Unity is so hungry. When you're so hungry, just finish off everything from the plate. Nothing left.
Exactly. And when you have an Ignis, you're sure that your meal is never cold. Exactly.
We're not stopping.
Exactly. No, but legit. Yeah, getting back into the game. You know, kidding aside, it definitely was a very messy kind of fight there for Alliance here. Like that Nakaroth as well as Crash definitely had some good moments for themselves, but because they have to dive in, because again we were kind of talking about how the Ignis is just really good at leaving his AoE, his balls of AoE, and then stunning people when they last or at least stand too long in that vicinity. It kind of just stops the tempo that Alliance wants to kind of get going when they go for those fights, and then they can immediately reset. All Ignis has to do is once they jump in, drop it where they drop, and then kind of rinse and repeat, and that's what happened. Alliance couldn't really find an answer to that, and the Diao Chen, I think, is pretty much oppressed by this Ignis. Like if she tries to use her ultimate, she has to like stay idle, right, in one angle or in one spot, and then Ignis can just again drop her, stun her down, and melt that frozen lady.
Yes, imagine the possibilities, as well as I did mention numerous times how L'Oreal very, very deadly combo. Hey, here comes Ignis and Alice, which is practically the same, well, almost the same size of AoE as well. Both circles, and if you just wombo combo that is just a huge trap for Alliance's side. But Unity just played it so well. I think Alliance, they had a couple of questionable calls, like for example the very first Abyssal Dragon, the Joker fell, I believe, and as well Unity already won that skirmish, and yet the Max still dove in just for the kill. Normally you go for kills because it leads to objectives, but that kill, Max fell as well, you left top, so it's kind of like, these itsy bits of minor mistakes could, if they pile up, is just something Unity is gonna easily take advantage of and just put it in the bank.
Yeah, and speaking of take advantage of, they definitely did that, and it kind of just, again, spiraled way, way, way out of control. Again, I think Luxur was the one who said this, wherein he said that Nakaroth is a very niche hero, wherein he could have wanted Irie to have been the other champion that could have replaced the Nakaroth. And in a certain sense, I also agree with that, because Irie is one of those champions that, even though she is a sort of assassin, and she has lesser mobility than Nakaroth, and I believe it was you who said that Nakaroth has like 7 dashes.
Just a lot of dashes.
Yeah,
I suck at
okay.
math. I might be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of dashes indeed. Irie has at least a moderate amount of dashes, plus her ultimate Ryu allows her to kind of the more the opponents get hit by her ultimate, or at least the more opponents she hits with her ultimate, the more shield she gets, meaning that she can stay a little bit longer in the fight and be a bit more useful. The Nakaroth there was kind of blown up every single time that he tries to kind of, just dive in onto the fight. Anyways, here's your MVP for that game. It is Blaze, 4-0-15. That is a huge kill participation, as well as no deaths for the Alice.
Yes, so adorable as well. Just as you said, no deaths. Again, really synergizes well with a lot of the squad, as well as that Ignis pick. And Ryoma as well, and Lubu. Lubu, very good split pusher. You saw once the Lubu just had that space, and everybody else from the side of Alliance were just trying to run away from that Lubu during the last few instances of the fight.
Yeah.
But I'm just really, really happy to see this. As congratulations to Unity for landing that 3rd place spot. They did so well against Alliance, and 3-0. Wow. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, so now that is all over, we're going to be seeing, or at least we're now going to be getting into the meat of it all, the creme de la creme, the Mount Everest of this climb, or the peak of Mount Everest of this climb that all of these teams have been scaling up for, which is the grand finals. The majority of that 5 lakh rupees will definitely go into the winner's hands, and that is going to be ExDee Gaming versus Serenity. Both of these teams definitely showed a lot of control against their opponents, and even I believe 3 zeros all across the board. So we're looking for a pretty intense match, or at least intense next match to watch.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to the draft later on as well. A lot of popular picks, especially the Joker Preda, which is super duper common in certain compositions, as well as the typical Max versus Senior, just to put that global presence in, and as well as that lockdown from that Max. And Senior for protection both have similar, not similar concepts, but more like people use them for similar reasons, but they offer a totally different strat into their arsenal. Next up, again, I'm so excited to see more junglers, more surprise picks. Like, for example, we didn't really expect any Ignis in this tournament, and yet he appeared, he won, he has conquered, burned everybody. That sounds super. Anyway, yes, it was so effective, and we're probably gonna see more surprise picks, maybe some Jinnar, because the stakes are so high. Best of 5. This is the grand finale, which is going to be later, rather. And just imagine if you're, for example, you get 2-0'd. You have only 1 shot, and then you just get all your pocket picks. It's now or never, do or die. You're pushing yourself to your limit. So I'm imagining that sort of scenario later, if ever. I want to see more surprise and pocket picks from the AOV Indian meta.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a best of 5, so definitely picks. Maybe if we reach game number 3 or even 4, because, again, I did say this a while ago, we're in this region that we are casting. It feels like a region that emphasizes, again, being able to do damage from a distance. And I was checking my notes here, and wasn't really surprised when I saw ExDee Gaming as well as Serenity have sort of a similar type of lineup for their compositions, wherein they always have someone to kind of deal the damage from afar, be it the Preda or the Joker. So we'll be seeing possibly like maybe the first couple of games wherein, you know, these guys just picks first, and then once we reach that third game or fourth game, we see all pocket picks that you were talking about. Anyways, we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, the grand finals here. So guys, stay tuned. Hope you guys are enjoying. Just sit back, relax, and we'll be back after a short break. My name is Azra, here's Riku, and this is the Arena of Valor India Summer Championship presented by Tencent and produced by Tesseract. See you in a bit.
Hello, and welcome to Arena of Valor. Not satisfied with only watching the matches taking place in the 2018 World Cup? Well, this summer, you can get in the game with a new football mode featuring an all-new map, Fantasy Island. In football mode, you're no longer required to push lanes, destroy towers, or defeat enemies. That's right, you're being liberated from the traditional MOBA gameplay. These matches only last 4 minutes, so you can pick up your mobile device for a casual, fast, and thrilling AOV football match anytime, anywhere. Not only have we added a morale system to make the football experience feel more realistic, but we've also developed 3 new abilities just for this mode: Kick, Block, and Gravity. The new Kick ability is highly flexible. Not only can it be used to shoot, but it can also be used for passing, allowing you to coordinate with your teammates. The Block ability can be used to stop the opposing team's offense on its tracks. As everyone knows, an impenetrable defense is key to victory. Even if you fall behind in this mode, there's no reason to be discouraged. The morale system provides the trailing team with more chances to cast Gravity, the new ultimate ability. We're using new technology in this mode that regardless of which team you're in, your own goal is always blue, and the opponent's goal is always red. So you never have to worry about kicking the ball in the wrong direction. We've also created a weather system for football mode that adds a new dimension to the AOV experience. Don't hold back. Let your imagination and creativity run wild with gameplay that can only be experienced on Fantasy Island. Unfortunately, ranged heroes will not be taking part in this mode. Their normal attacks would allow them to kick the ball from afar, confusing other players as to who kicked the ball and from where. The unique traits of each hero allow for endless team possibilities. Try out different combinations of heroes and experiment with what works best. We expect there are lots of undiscovered hero groupings just waiting to be found. Who knows? Maybe you'll invent a powerful team that's never been tried before and dominate the field. All heroes will retain their original abilities. However, in the name of sportsmanship, the damage caused by those abilities has been removed. Only their control effects remain. To prevent certain heroes from becoming too powerful in this mode, we've adjusted some of their movement speeds. We've also created football team skins for Valheim, Murad, Tulin, Zenial, and Max. A truly excellent player has more than just amazing skill. A truly excellent player is always prepared to take advantage of the unpredictable weather. Use the weather effects to improve your situation on the field. You might be surprised by the possible outcomes. Exciting, right? Round up some friends and prepare to experience the thrill of AOV's upcoming football mode.
Welcome to the hero spotlight of Max the Wonderkind. Enemies escaping? Not from Max. Max is great at chasing them down. Think you're safe from Max? Think again. Man's ultimate, Liftoff, can go through the enemy's team even if the target is on the other side. With Liftoff, no enemy running low can ever hope to escape from Max the Wonderkind. Recall interrupted. Passive static shock. Every time Max damages an enemy, the enemy gets shocked, causing them to suffer true damage every second and have their health regeneration reduced. Static shock can be used together with Tome of the Reaper or Curse of Death's Soul prison effect, as this shuts down heroes that can heal quickly, such as Tara and L'Oreal. First ability, Bionic Blender. Max spins his robot arms around, dealing physical damage to enemies. Every time he hits an enemy, his movement speed will be increased. Bionic Blender's movement speed boost can be stacked. There are two ways of doing this. First way involves hitting multiple targets at once to gain a huge speed boost, while the second way is to reduce Bionic Blender's cooldown through items such as Spear of Longinus, using Bionic Blender to hit the enemy again before Max loses the movement speed boost. Second ability, Smooth Moves. Max rushes towards his target and flips over them, landing on their opposite side. Once on the other side, Max activates a magnetic force field that reduces his damage taken. This ability can be used again within 4 seconds. Smooth Moves is indeed a hidden dash ability, and Max can use it to hit targets and pass through certain obstacles. Watch out! Ultimate Liftoff. Max fires trackers that attach to all enemy heroes for a short time. The trackers allow allies to see the enemy's locations and interrupt enemy recall actions. While the trackers are active, Max can then select an enemy to track and ram into by holding down the ability button. Ramming into the enemy deals physical damage and knocks them back. If Max takes too long to select an enemy, then he will have to fire the trackers again. When Max lands, he activates a magnetic force field that reduces his damage taken, increases his resistance by 30%, and shocks all nearby enemies. Pressing the ability again while Max is tracking an enemy will cancel the attack, making Max land immediately and activate his force field. Max doesn't have to ram into the enemy every time when using Liftoff. If enemy heroes are sticking together and are tough to kill, then Max can tap Liftoff again to cancel it in order to avoid getting caught outnumbered. Want to become epic with Max? 1. Smooth Moves damage reduction will still be in effect on second activation. Use it again right after the first part to achieve maximum damage reduction. 2. Bionic Blender is Max's main damage dealer and minion wave clearer. It also has a very short cooldown, so always level up with this ability first, followed by Smooth Moves, and then level up his ultimate Liftoff whenever it is available. 3. Max is really good at chasing down the enemy. I mean really good at chasing them down. So he doesn't really need Flicker to initiate. However, he may lack the damage to finish off targets, so take Execute for that extra damage reach. 4. Liftoff can also be used as an escape tool. When Max is running low and being chased down, he can use Liftoff to ram into an enemy at another location. After he reaches a safe place, he can then cancel Liftoff to complete his escape. 5. Max should always pay attention to the mini-map. When he sees targets that are running low, he should get close and use Liftoff to finish them off. A common combo for Max is to first use Liftoff to charge forward. Follow it up with Smooth Moves for control, followed by Bionic Blender to deal damage. Continue the combo with Smooth Moves and normal attacks to complete the kill. The combo sequence is Ultimate plus second ability plus first ability plus second ability. Thanks for watching today's Hero Spotlight. See you next time. When the twins T and Me wear the knight armor crafted by the legendary Max the Wonderkind, they form T-Me, the Stalwart. Welcome to the T-Me Hero Spotlight. A tanky support with 2 control abilities that aid with both catching enemy heroes and keeping teammates out of harm's way, T-Me has both a strong laning presence and extreme utility in late-game team fights. Warning, T-Me's ultimate, being a bro, will make your opponents annoyed and or confused with despair at how many times they have to kill your allies. We are never going back to the base. Passive Scavenge. When a non-hero enemy dies near T-Me, the brothers quickly pick up the spoils and give nearby allies extra gold. Scavenge's effect does not only apply to minions, but also applies to jungle monsters, so T-Me can move around the river and earn as much gold as possible in multiple lanes to farm faster. First ability, Pooty Poots. T begins to build up gas in his stomach, increasing their movement speed temporarily. During this time, T tries to hold it all in as long as possible. T then unleashes a stinky plume, causing all enemies in the area to suffer magic damage and become stunned for up to 2 seconds. The longer T holds in his funky fumes, the higher the damage and stun length dealt upon release. Pooty Poots can also be activated earlier simply by tapping the ability again during its duration. Pooty Poots is a core ability for Teamy. With its short cooldown, Teamy can use the increased movement speed granted from this to both rush to a team fight to support allies or escape from a bad situation. Second ability, Chain Lance. Mii shoots forth a chain from his lance, hooking the first thing it hits, launching Teamy forward to the hooked target. If the chain hits an enemy, it deals magic damage and then stuns them for a second. Chain Lance can be applied to monsters, teammates, enemy heroes, and minions on both sides. Thus, you can use it to hook target on the other side of the wall to pass through it. Ultimate, Being a Bro. Teamy channels their armor's resurrective powers to protect themselves and the nearby ally hero with the lowest health for a short period of time. While the ability is active, if Teamy or the protected ally dies, they will be resurrected at the spot where they died. When a hero is resurrected, the resurrection will deal magic damage to surrounding enemies and reduce their movement speed by 50% for 2 seconds. Being a Bro can be unleashed even when Teamy is under control. Try to always use it when teammates are running low. Otherwise, if you unleash it too early or too late, it will get wasted. 1. Chain Lance can easily be blocked or dodged. Try using it while you're in the brush for a higher success rate. For an effective combo, use Pooty Poots to get Teamy within range. Follow it up by using Chain Lance to close distance and stun. Then release the fully charged Pooty Poots to stun the enemy again to achieve maximum control. 2. Teamy doesn't have any poking ability, so they should avoid a prolonged melee fight. When pushing enemy towers, Teamy can use Pooty Poots to force the enemy to retreat from the tower and help teammates to take it down. 3. Flicker is useful as it can help Teamy escape from a fight and can be used together with a fully charged Pooty Poots as a clutch opener. 4. Teamy is extremely strong in the early game, so they're great at harassing the enemy jungle from the start. Choose Pooty Poots as your first ability, then have allies clear monsters on the enemy side and take their Might Golem or Sage Golem to interrupt the enemy's jungler and slow the enemy's farming speed. Thanks for watching Teamy's Hero Spotlight. See you on the battlefield. Hi everyone, the hero we are introducing today is Wonder Woman. Born on the paradise island of Themyscira, Wonder Woman is a proud Amazonian. She holds the indestructible shield in her left hand to protect her from damage, swinging the sword of Athena in her right hand to unleash the mighty attack, waving the lasso of truth to control her enemy, and crossing the bracelets of submission to protect her teammates. Come together, let's shake the battleground. Passive, Amazon Shield. After 2 normal attacks, Wonder Woman's next normal attack will throw her shield, dealing an additional true damage to all enemies in its path and slowing their movement speed by 1% for 0.5 seconds. If the shield hits an enemy, Wonder Woman will recover HP. If the shield hits an enemy hero, the HP recovered is tripled. Wonder Woman can also trigger the passive by stomping the ground 3 times. She can leverage her passive to trade with enemy when laning in the early game. First ability, Sword and Shield. Wonder Woman repels her enemies with her sword and shield. Her shield bash deals physical damage and slows enemy movement speed by 2% for 3 seconds. If the shield hits an enemy hero, Wonder Woman will receive 3% damage reduction for 3 seconds. After Wonder Woman bashes with her shield, she can activate the ability again to follow with a sword attack that deals the same amount of physical damage. Enemies hit by the center of her blade suffer double damage. Each attack of Wonder Woman's first ability is actually also a hidden dash ability. With the right direction control, this dash ability can help Wonder Woman to pass through walls. When using the second attack, pay attention to maintain a suitable distance between enemy. Keeping enemy in the center can double the damage. Second ability, Lasso of Truth. Wonder Woman throws her Lasso of Truth around an enemy. If the enemy's HP is greater than 50% of their maximum HP, then Wonder Woman will be pulled towards them, dealing physical damage. If the enemy's HP is less than or equal to 50% of their maximum HP, then Wonder Woman...
And the time is nigh. We're about to watch the grand finals here in the Arena of Valor India Summer Championship, presented by Tencent and produced by Tesseract. My name is Asteroid. Here with me is Riku, and later on we'll be joined by Luxuria, as well as I request a duo. As again, like I said, it's gonna be the grand finals: ExDee Gaming versus Serenity.
It's a best-of-5 series, so there's gonna be a lot of high action-packed games. ExDee Gaming, let's take a look at their roster. Their offlaner is going to be Shiny X, their mage is going to be Dexter, Kaz as their marksman, Pain as their jungler, and for Blastoise, that's their observer.
And for Serenity, Darth Vader as their offlaner, Shashwat as their mage, Light as the marksman role, Freaky with the jungler, and Zipfile for the observer.
Exactly, and just take a little bit of flashback from ExDee Gaming. ExDee Gaming has been the top 1 seed of our Valor Cup C3. They have only been defeated technically once by our Abditory, but the rest is a bunch of really dominating sweeps from their side. And meanwhile, for Serenity, they have been it has been an uphill battle, but at the same time, most of their series are just sort of, what do you call this? Their highlights are definitely, aside from their drafting, also their decision-making in game. So I guess one of the most memorable games we've encountered from Serenity is the one up against Unity, which was that Darkslayer decision by Unity, which cost them the whole series, and Serenity just wanted and aimed for that core, and that's a very, very sweet victory.
Yeah, but you also have to remember that even though that was a sweet 3-0 and great final game number 3 for Serenity and Unity, that, again, one of the things that we kind of were worried about with Serenity is that they have a tendency to kind of, again, tunnel vision with objectives or with their targets. So if that happens against ExDee Gaming, who have shown to be a team that, I mean, they might have some weaknesses, but in the games that we have watched them, seem to be the perfect team right about now. They have good macro, they have good team fight, and they also have, you know, the correct decision making on which objectives to take, especially when it's about either Darkslayer or core. So Serenity is really gonna be up for a fight. And again, this is it means that we are favoring ExDee Gaming. This is just what we've seen throughout these 4 days of casting. It is gonna be insane what's gonna be happening for this grand finals, and I am super excited to start our games, but alas, no drafting yet.
Yeah, no drafting yet, but I guess we can assume what we could expect in this upcoming draft for a grand finale. I mean, this is that moment where you have to be careful and set that momentum. Both of these squads, both of these teams finished in a 3-0 fashion. So in terms of confidence and in terms of how they feel, I'm pretty sure they feel pretty good. But it's that game number 1, if it's a win or a loss, that will determine the following momentum or the rhythm that they're going to be having in the next following games. It is a best-of-5 series, so I think I might expect more Maganga in this series. A lot of Crest is super popular. We didn't see a lot of Crest at day number 1 and day number 2, but as the tournament progressed, we've been seeing a lot of the Crest compositions.
And speaking of all of these heroes, let's get into the draft to see which heroes will be brought to our game. So Joker and Superman, right off the bat, were banned out. Max, first pick for ExDee.
So much respect for Light's Joker. It just means that, okay, what are the other choices for Light to carry or to get? One thing to note is that Light is also a very scary Violet player. When Unity decided to ban out that Joker, they decided to pick up that Violet, which is not going to be a no-brainer. It's gonna be a no-brainer if they do get this. But remember, Murad is open. We did mention ExDee Gaming's pool is just immense, and it's so hard to try and counteract this draft. But look at that. If they're hovering over this Morin pick and Maganga pick, I believe this isn't the first time we've seen a Maganga Morin combo. But we'll have to see if it's gonna work. Nope, it's gonna be Lights Violet.
Lights Violet. So, as well as the Alice. So it's not gonna be a Maganga. I thought it was gonna be. And I mean, it could have actually worked out because if you think about it, it's gonna be two schools of playstyle here. If you go for the Maganga and the Morin, you're gonna be kind of waiting for Murad and absorbing his temporal turbulence. But if it's gonna be the Alice and the Violet, you're kind of gonna be trying to dodge that. So you're gonna see Serenity kind of do a bit more of that certain type of playstyle, but they're still gonna go for the Maganga here just for that, I guess, extra amount of survivability for this Violet. On the other hand, ExDee Gaming once again go for a Lubu. Definitely a tempo hero that can either make or break for games. If he kind of loses, he's very difficult to get back into the game. But once he gets that again, that spear rolling or that spear piercing, he's definitely going to be able to solo lanes by himself and be a very credible split pusher.
Exactly, split pushing is one of the options that ExDee Gaming could do. I know that they're the type of team that likes creating these different heat spots or spots in the map that would force the enemy squad. Do I pursue this or do I go after this instead? Split push or Abyssal Dragon? It just makes you question and at the same time makes you become a little bit hesitant. But again, you have to be very decisive about these decisions. Going back to that Alice pick, I am a huge fan of the Alice pick in the draft because yes, it does take away that Alice L'Oreal combo that we've been talking about in the tournament. And yes, Alice is one of those heroes that is good for heavy aggressive teams. With that crushed in the side of ExDee Gaming, you're going to be expecting a lot of tower dives, a lot of sieging, and as well as that Murad pick, he's just going to double dash, temporal turbulence, and blink back out. If you place a very good hissy fit, he might not be able to escape, and therefore you can leave a very easy punish for that Murad. Again, it has to be one of those things where you have to be fully aware of your surroundings to make it work and have to be wary. But yes, Murad can just snowball out of control as well as crushed compositions in their Eternal.
All right, so match is ready. Let's get into the game for the grand finals. Are you guys hyped? I am definitely hyped right here. My voice is keeping calm for now because I'm going to be seeing some pretty epic matches. So let's get into the game already as we see that there is going to be Serenity, a little bit of that invade, but ExDee Gaming immediately straight from the get-go pushes them out for the meantime. L'Oreal will be our mate for ExDee as Maganga will be for Serenity.
Take note, Dexter has been super effective in these L'Oreal picks. I can remember times where Dexter was the MVP of the match, just dancing gracefully in the battlefield. But I guess it's not that huge of a loss. Hold that thought. We see a Wonder Woman and Lubu matchup, obviously losing that little there at the bot side of the map. There's Kaz forced to back away with that Wonder Woman having a lot of control in the next few seconds.
Yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman is a pretty dang good matchup against the Lubu, because you think about it, she does have that shield to throw against the Lubu, has a good amount of defense as well, so she can absorb all of that good damage. And Lubu, in order to kind of trump this Wonder Woman, really would need a gank from their junglers. In any case, they're still going to be looking, or rather ExDee Gaming are still going to be looking for something else with this Murad as they kind of focus their sights on the top side. But look at Serenity almost getting the kill on the Shiny. He does get away with the sliver, but still backs away. But this opens up the possibility as you see Serenity kind of corralling into the top side. Go for this Abyssal Dragon for free by ExDee Gaming. Freaky does spot this out. He can maybe go heal, but it's going to be very clutch, and he can't do it because there is that Murad.
Upon seeing a couple of members invested at the top side of the map, this puts out ExDee Gaming into the position to, hey, let's go for this Abyssal Dragon. And the first one goes to them, and it's mainly because of fast decision making once again. Murad just definitely does a lot of pressure as well in the mid lane, and therefore losing a lot of power. From earlier, we saw that Wonder Woman has been winning that matchup, but I feel like maybe level 4. When Dubu comes, he's definitely more of a duelist after. So he would definitely win that matchup in the bottom lane in comparison to a utility that Wonder Woman has to offer when she reaches level 4 her teammates. But yes, I feel like this Violet is just gonna be. I mean, as I was seeing when the movie Serenity, ExDee Gaming, we have set this. They have set their own stage as that #1 seed in India. Now Valor. They're also the representative for the Asian Games, the upcoming Asian Games in August. So imagine what would happen if Serenity just turned the tables around.
Speaking of turning the tables around, it seems like ExDee Gaming starting to flip that table into their favor as they get the kill onto the Zenyo. He goes down, and it seems that they line up for the Murad as he gets a straight double kill into the top lane. A 4-man collapse. Look at how many members of ExDee Gaming are low for the count here. But where is the Wonder Woman? Where is that Alice for the defense? They are nowhere to be found, and Freaky is gonna be caught out straight from the get-go. Look at that transition from ExDee Gaming, forces him to flicker over the wall, but it seems like Serenity are starting to lose grasp into this game, and well, their picks look to be okay for the start, but that rotation from ExDee Gaming really set up something for them to, hold on to.
Take note that this is a typical Crush. It's just Crush doing Crush things. I did mention how Alice is a very good counter over aggressive teams because of that hissy fit and the movement speed and everything and all her kit in general. But look at that, Kaz and everybody else just charging in.
Kaboom! Using that max with the liftoff, once you get that vision, it just gives them enough space to get the Abyssal Dragon, and even a nice follow-up from the left and the right, and, just go fight. Violet goes down, so is the Maganga. No more chorus for Serenity here, and they lose another objective. Could also even lose the mid-tier 1 if they're not careful with it, and well, that's not going to be decided here by ExDee Gaming because they want more kills. Look at Freaky missing the lasso of truth, and 3 have gone to the bottom lane. They do have a Zenyo. He can actually go into the bottom right now with his ultimate, and he does, but a little bit tad too late as he actually gives up the life of Wonder Woman. Now, Darth Vader is trying to run away like the Darth Vader that he is. He's not really, the best character in the Star Wars universe. But hold that thought. Actually, that's not true. He could be, but still, in this game, he's not, and he goes down.
It's like you're tearing yourself apart with all these Star Wars references.
Tearing me apart, Lisa!
And another reference. But going back to the game, it seems that ExDee Gaming has full control, just as the previous matches that they had. I mean, if you go for that Crush pick, it's obvious what they intend to do. I did mention how Alice is a good potential counter punish for aggressive teams. But when that dive happened in the top side of the map, Alice was just busy clearing the mid lane, and you wouldn't give Serenity much choice because they don't want to leave their lanes unguarded, especially with the loop just lingering around the map, just finding all these waves to shove and towers, vulnerable towers, if you will. But now Max and everybody else is just creating pressure all over. Again, this is the heat spot that I've been talking about. Top side, bottom lane is getting shoved, and now Darkslayer is being taken.
Darkslayer is being taken, and Shiny is that Gandalf saying, "You shall not pass." Going for the 3v1. Crush follows up with the Metamorphosis and Slamma-Jamma goes in, gets the kill onto Maganga. Actually, no, he survives with a sliver of HP, but it's not gonna matter as the Darkslayer was secured here by ExDee Gaming, and they manhandle Serenity straight from the get-go, already stacking up to about 4,000, maybe 5,000 gold worth, and even more objectives here with the towers being destroyed. And look at this, the Murad slice it and dice it, Krillin at that Zenyo, who's supposed to be the tankiest member here, but is just minced meat to the power right now of that Murad. Now, every member of ExDee Gaming has kind of corralled to the top, except for the Lubu and this Max, who are split pushing on the other lanes. And this was what I believe Yuri was doing against Alliance, the 3-1-1 split. ExDee Gaming are kind of replicating that this early on.
Yes, sir, and it's working. working for them. It's so effective for ExDee Gaming. Serenity is on the defense. One of the things that is good against aggressive teams as well, aside from what I've said about the Alice, is also wave clear, just to try and scare them off. But there's no, it's not present. But I think Ganga is all right, I suppose. But I feel like it's not as powerful as a Preda. Preda is more of a charge-in burst type of mage. Meanwhile, Maganga is more like a stacked up damage and DOTs as well, and utility for the squad.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not as strong as a Preda if you think about it, but it's just really hard to fight at the back end here. Coming from Serenity, because ExDee Gaming, what they're doing is that they're taking advantage of the huge lead that they have right now and not allowing any resources to be taken by Serenity. They're starving them of their jungle, they're starving them of towers, objectives such as Abyssal Dragon and Dark Slayer. So they're surgically taking things away from Serenity, which is so difficult to get back into the game.
Yeah, and because of that, Serenity can't really get any form of gold income to into their pockets. And you already said it's about Ganga that he kind of doesn't really do too much if you're not able to have teammates who can allow him to get those stacks to roll in. And you saw Rad by himself destroy the Maganga in the blink of an eye with that temporal turbulence. He is just basically I was about to say like the Prince of Persia, but I could be wrong. It was like he is that particular character.
I think he was a prince somewhere, and then Azinka sort of debated him about something in the.
Debated means bait. It's just a Filipino term. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think it's
Debated?
an overall meme.
Is it really?
Yes.
I thought it was.
No, it's an overall meme. Okay, going back to the game though.
Okay.
Murad, again, sometimes Crash doesn't even need to dive. It's all Murad's job. If everybody is just standing in that turret, if you don't catch him, you don't land that perfect hissy fit, you don't time your CCs correctly, then you're just gonna have a bad time. Your HP is just gonna get chipped down, and he's just gonna run away and try again. Get those stacks in, and then tap that ultimate button.
Sands of times, allowing him to kind of, go back and forth and do whatever he so well dang pleases. Like I said, the hissy fit, but it's just a little bit tad too late. And once that ultimate actually comes in and used, they know that they have the possibility to actually go into the fight right now as Max actually destroys everybody from that wayside and everybody into the front. Even the Zenial is no match for the power of ExDee Gaming, although at the same time here, they still go underneath 2 towers, and that could be the downfall of ExDee Gaming as they went a bit too ambitious on that certain play. Now Freaky, feeling a bit ambitious on his own, tries to do it with pain, but that is, without any pain, you don't get no gain. But this Murad is just not that bad, and he just destroys that Wonder Woman from the get-go. A little bit of sand in your eyes, and she gets blinded by that one. Now, they did a good defense, but still, look at that gold, about 8,000 already, and, it should skyrocket, or it should, balloon even more.
Yes. I mean, Serenity did a good job in protecting their base. I mean, normally what you do, if a Max charges at you, you can immediately see the plan or what they intend there. It's like a fight's about to break.
Fight's about to break. Blastoise jumps over the wall, takes a good chunk of damage, and, this is a little bit of a precursor for you. If an observer or a support can tank or at least survive the brunt of the enemy team for a couple of seconds by himself, you know that there's something wrong with your damage output.
Indeed. Serenity, again, coming from that max liftoff, all you have to do is try to converge. Try to converge with your members so that you could easily isolate Max. I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the strats that they actually did earlier. They brought Max near to the core, which is so sad to rely on. So he's just serving. He's just a slow.
Ooh. He goes down? No!
Oh, he went back! Reflex! Muscle memory! Oh no!
I mean, it's really not going to be enough. And with 4 kills, the Murad is back. Darkslayer is a huge possibility now for Serenity. Will they actually try to do this as that Murad is very, very close? Crash goes into the mid to go for a little bit of pressure, but that is just an observer, and maybe Serenity can go for this huge objective. Definitely going to help them out because ExDee Gaming will capitalize on that if they do not. But Serenity decides for the safer play and just take it slow.
Remember, this is the exact scenario between Serenity versus Unity game number 3, where their bot side high ground tower is not present anymore. But this is a whole new different, I guess, ending, I suppose, because Darkslayer is being taken by ExDee Gaming, and it's not them who is going to be taking that DS. And now they're playing defense mode. It happened to their opponent, so it's not supposed to happen to them. And that's the reason why they're so wary. It's okay to give up the Darkslayer. They have the wave clear. They have that late game damage. They have the counterplay with that Alice, and as well as that Wonder Woman. So everything is just one of those things where they have to play that team fight smartly.
And speaking of playing smartly, ExDee Gaming were actually just, coming hovering over the bottom side. They didn't know what was in store for them on the top side. You saw there was a little bit of death brush with the Wonder Woman and a friend there, and they didn't go for it. And once they saw that they came out of the base, they said that, okay, their shenanigans is over. We can try to do something with this Darkslayer. There is going to be Luis on the Crash Ultimate, and he just slams into the back as looking for a little bit of that fight. And they are actually compressed right here. This could be huge for the Violet as well as the Maganga, as Max is absorbing all of that damage, but Freaky is being a total baller, although at the same time, Pain has destroyed the mid-tier 3, and even though Serenity are putting up a good fight, it's not gonna be enough. They still at least get the turrets here, the towers, and the core is exposed. There's gonna be a dip in for the Zenial as he tries to go for the defense, but game number 1 will still be secured by ExDee Gaming with such a, not really a clean game, but with such dominating fashion with that second Darkslayer in their hands.
It's like ExDee Gaming has had enough, because it was a little bit of a slow tower defense, or tower offense rather, for ExDee Gaming. They wanted to play safe, air quote, safe, by getting the Murad to go in first, and then temporal turbulence, maybe get someone dead first, they head on over. But it's like, I've had it. Let's go for the usual Crash strategy, where Crash goes in with the metamorphosis, and then let's take down that tower first, because I know their first attempt did not go so. They didn't focus on the tower. Max went in too deep. They focused on the members of Serenity instead of that tower first, and then the members. So they did it differently this time, and they did it correctly, and that's the reason why they managed to get back into the game. Rather finish the game, and as well as that Darkslayer buff helped them out boost that game finisher as well.
Yeah, I mean, mistakes were made by ExDee Gaming here, but at the end of the day, there is still that investment in being able to take down some of the towers here of Serenity, which made them very uncomfortable to kind of push out and risk certain objectives, because they lost all of this, tier 3 tower at the very start. They were not comfortable with going for a Darkslayer, because if it took a couple of seconds more, maybe there could have been that backstab maybe from the Lubu to get that core by himself. You never know what could have happened here. And even though they got that certain ace or that 4K against ExDee Gaming, they still had to chew through maybe 1 or 2 turrets before getting the third one. And by that time, ExDee Gaming would have been contesting, and maybe they would have even lost that one. So yeah, Serenity did a good job, but ExDee Gaming had investment.
Yeah, they did so well, and look at that, MVP of the match, ExDee Pain, with 1 death, which was the muscle memory of blinking back to your usual spot. But he did a phenomenal performance at that Murad. Again, I believe in the next draft, it's going to be tough for Serenity, as again, there's so many things to ban. For sure, though, so much respect for Light's Joker. But at the same time, you only have 1 more ban, which is that Superman. And I'm pretty sure they don't want to let that out. So you're torn between either first picking Murad for as they're going to be on blue side, they're going to be picking, or just find a counterplay. They did manage to eliminate him, and imagine it was also with the help of the Alice, which I keep saying it's one of the best things that you could do with your composition, with the composition assembled by Serenity.
Yeah, right now I feel like there's gonna be more of that emphasis, or rather a slight win ratio or win percentage advantage for first pick teams, just because, like you said, they're gonna be able to possibly pick the Murad first, and then maybe force the opponent team to kind of go for the secondary picks. And for their next rotation, they can actually go for like a crash and whatnot. And this kind of just gives you a dynamic for that first pick team, wherein they get the creme of the crop, and they also have, you know, initiators that aren't really prioritized but are really good for starting off the fights. And that was what ExDee Gaming kind of did with their composition. They went for max first lead, but the Murad kind of slept through Serenity's fingers. But I think Serenity has a good chance of starting this one. Again, it's kind of confusing to explain this, but again, I'm just saying, like, because you're the first pick here, you should be able to get the prime picks first, and then kind of supplement that with better, because you have, I guess, the faster grab in terms of, you know, rotation.
Yes. I see what DPS or damage here. I've seen first pick Jokers. I've seen first pick Murads. Sometimes even Ryoma, but obviously the huge headache was the Murad pick. And then I guess when L'Oreal came online, honestly speaking though, Crest is also a huge headache to deal with. So it's a matter of decision making, whether as to probably maybe get the Murad for yourself, or just try to take away a few things, take away a few strong things away from the roster of ExDee Gaming, because again, they have a large amount of hero pool, and I think, you know, Crest is just one of those things that enables a certain strategy.
Okay.
Take off the Crest. Murad, sometimes it works early game, but if you don't give him space to actually, if you constantly move around the map, then it's gonna be hard for him because he can't keep his stacks forever.
Yeah.
If you're staying in the lane too long, then that's the time he'll have a good time, because okay, I'm gonna gank your bot side, I can stack at the Seagull. If I'm gonna gank mid lane, I can stack on spider camps. If I'm going top, then another Seagull or Sentinel. There's so many sources if you stay in lane. But if you constantly create or dictate the pace of the game, Murad will have a difficult time finding the correct opportunities. And the only time he'll be able to use his temporal turn effectively is when you're contesting objectives such as Sentinel or Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, maybe I'm looking at this in the wrong light here. I've been kind of focusing more on the utility, which is definitely a huge factor. But if you saw what happened there to Serenity, I felt like ExDee Gaming prioritizes more the damage and then supplements it with supports, rather than what Serenity did on the previous one, wherein they went more for the utility and then kind of went for the damage. So if you kind of second-hand the damage, especially when you take a Joker, you're left with very little options to kind of, you know, focus on in terms of your carries. And ExDee Gaming knew this coming into the first game. So for the second one, maybe Serenity will mix it up, go for some damage first, then support. Or, you know, if they try to go for the tank or support first, it might not work in their favor, because ExDee kind of, again, loves to go for offensive type of heroes. And this type of drafting style fits with their, I think, their team mindset.
That is correct. So there's a lot of ways to approach this, but I think it's because ExDee Gaming is a powerful team. So I'm really curious what adjustments will be done in game number.
So the draft is ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's get into it and see what game number 2 holds.
They do let this show. I mean, Superman.
Red team's turn to
So that was the thing that was what we were talking about. Are they ready to unleash a Superman? And because Joker, this is a good Superman. Oh, dude. Okay, Serenity was given that choice, whether to be the villain or the hero. They decide to be the villain, and they first pick Joker just for Light. Okay, Light is a very good Joker player. We know that. But Superman is a playmaker as well. He's tanky, he deals so much damage. They're going full! Oh my god! Joker and Batman teaming up! Mayday, mayday, Asteroid, what's going on?
I mean, there is a kind of alternate timeline wherein Superman becomes a dictator and, Batman has to kill him. It's not a spoiler, it's just basically like a...
You just spoiled
No, it's not.
lovers all over the
No,
world.
I'm pretty sure they already know. I'm not a geek. I'm not a ultra geek. I wish I was. But still, what I said, put that out of the table, because once you get a Superman, everything just goes topsy-turvy, because he, like you said already, does every single freaking thing by himself, and any composition becomes a viable composition. They even have a crash to counter the Superman, but what can a sea monster do against the Man of Steel? This guy is a behemoth, a god in his own right. And again, it seems like I'm kind of selling him up too much, but have you seen a game where wherein a team that got Superman lost? No, right? And unless...
based on all the games we've casted...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So unless we kind of have that right now, with Serenity being the one on the back end, it might actually be game number 2 for ExDee here. But of course, this is just too early for us to dictate what's happening. This is just the draft. I am so freaking my head. I want to see what happens on.
Yeah, because we were already trying to deduce what's gonna happen, and there was Joker ban. It's the choice of ExDee Gaming whether or not to ban something else or what, and they had the choice to first pick Superman. It's just all about the prio picks, but they have crashed this time. So therefore, the Siege strategy, where they dive in with the Metamorphosis and just trample on the rest of the members of ExDee Gaming, is going to be available, and it's all going to depend on their early game and their execution. Meanwhile, on the other side, if they don't have that crashed strategy of just jumping on people or jumping under turrets, then there's the Superman just gonna go behind your tower and push you towards the members. So it works similarly, sorta. But I think our game is about to start.
It has actually already started. So let's get into game number 2. And let's see if this Batman will, be the Dark Knight getting the assassination when it gets level 4. I'm Batman.
I'm looking, because the thing is, one of the best things to shut down a Superman is your CC. Your hard CC. Not, slow sometimes, I guess, but it's still the best to go for that hard CC. I'm seeing Batman. I'm seeing Crashed as your source of hard CC, I suppose, effective hard CC. And you don't want to put them all on Superman. You want to put them on the other members as well, just to try to shut them down. And if ever, ExDee Gaming goes from different directions, they'll be forced to, half the resources. And take note, he already has a skill to remove debuffs and as well as purify. So that's investing too much just to shut down one target.
Yeah, I mean, it's all fine and dandy because we've seen that used beforehand. I'm not sure if it was ExDee Gaming who did use the Superman with the Purify, but it has proved to be much worth, because if you have a opposing team that has a lot of crowd control, a lot of lockdown, it does make sense because you want to be in the front line and you want to be as mobile as possible. Another thing that you have to take note is in that drafting phase, Batman was picked on the second rotation of Serenity, while in the third of ExDee Gaming, they went for, I believe, a Lindis. So this kind of lowers the threat of the Batman. Yes, he does have the Dark Knight for that ultimate, invisibility, but because of the Lindis's traps or that vision that she gives, Batman's, I guess, pathing or invisible pathing might be a little bit stumped here or neutered a little bit, but we just would have to see how he plays this out. This is gonna, I feel, go first for the Batman, because Batman spikes so well on level 4, and as the game progresses, he does lose a little bit of his lethality, but at the same time, his utility with that Dark Knight really does help him kind of scour out how his teammates would kind of like, you know, go for those fights.
Exactly. The thing about Serenity, hold that thought. Here comes the fight. Looks like that Crush is super low, will be the first one to fall. Goodbye, Zip File. And Abyssal Dragon is so low as well. But looks like the Batman has secured the Abyssal Dragon.
Batman has secured the Abyssal Dragon, but at what cost? 3 kills here for ExDee, and they are looking for more. Backs them away. Still, like you said, at least at what cost? You know, for a couple of his teammates, but that is gold overall for Serenity, and they haven't really lost too much just yet. Kaz, though, when going in a little bit too aggressive as the Joker spots him out, and that's going to be a little bit of pocket money in the, well, actually pocket of light. Sorry about that.
Yes. And that's a couple of seconds with no one consuming the jungle of ExDee Gaming. So I feel like that was a loss. Because normally, junglers is the one that has the highest level as they have a content source of experience.
Ooh, that is some good damage over the wall there. They bought out the Ignis, I believe. Yep, that is the Ignis, and this is the problem with the Ignis right here. If there is a lot of good crowd control, you'll be able to kind of force your fight into this one, and the Superman was a tad bit too late. He goes down. Malik slams it into the middle of the tower there, but this is ExDee Gaming kind of trickling into the fight, and they allow Serenity to go and just take them one after the other. Ay. They go down and they lose the mid-tier 1 way too early. Someone is about to go level 6 as members of ExDee Gaming are still kind of stumped with getting their own levels, especially Dexter on that Superman who is only 4.
Serenity is starting to see the light with this Joker pick, and they're working wonders with it. Immediately, Ignis bursts down and it gets exploded by that Joker. And again, this is another test of their micro capabilities here against ExDee Gaming. As we see that the Abyssal Dragon is about to spawn, let's see if they're able to do another steal or another successful contestant.
All right, we'll have to see this first because Serenity has a edge in this fight. Dexter is on the sidelines right now as his passive is charged up. He's actually going to be going straight to the top side. So ExDee Gaming, are they going to be forfeiting this? No, he's going to be coming back. Abyssal Dragon has been taken down, but members of Serenity are hella freaking low. Although respect to be had here by ExDee as Serenity escape or at least walk away from that Abyssal Dragon with smiles in their faces as they are starting to ramp up that gold lead.
Interesting, as we see the Sentinel at the bottom side of the map. I just realized that it's not the Sentinel at the top. It's not a Sentinel Malok matchup. It's a Superman Malok matchup. So in terms of the early game, whereas you take advantage of the 4v5 situation, it's not going to be available as. But then, looks like they shifted up their strategies. Let's go focus on top side, just so that we could create pressure at the top side of the map. Meanwhile, Serenity could respond with the same thing and keep going for this.
And they are going to be going for this. Shiny walks away, but Blastoise is here to hold his hand a little bit. Hissy Fit was there in the middle of the fight, but the chase is just too damn good. Although 3 members of ExDee Gaming are actually still going to be on the top side, maybe get the top tier 2, but it's really not going to happen. Transitions into mid, and are they going to look for a fight into the bottom side of the map? Looks like that's going to be a no for the meantime. Pain is over the wall, goes in for the connection. Will he commit onto Freaky as he tries to go in and tries to run away? Dexter goes into the fight, but has to back away as that Joker is a tad bit too painful. And I am eating my words right now because that Superman is looking pretty human right about now, not Kryptonian at all.
I just realized Dexter was a L'Oreal earlier.
Yes, he was.
Yes, and it looks like a lot of our players are very effective flex players. So it seems that Pain, that used to be, you know, their jungler, the Murad, earlier, up to an Ignis at this point. So we'll have to see as Sentinel continues to push that bottom side of the map and Sentinel actually being contested by the teams. And we'll see how this pans out as, you know, Serenity is doing a pretty good job of keeping up with their lead. And meanwhile, ExDee Gaming, not too far behind in terms of gold, but Dark Player is their goal here.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about XD's rotation later on, but it seems like Zipfile will go way too advanced compared to his teammates. Malik will actually drop down, but this is XD Gaming baiting out the ultimates here. They have to wait for a few seconds before that Crush actually loses his metamorphosis, and they are in no ways gonna be fighting a target, but never mind, they spot out Dexter there, and he goes down. Shiny does activate the ultimate here of the Zenial, but was a little bit too late to save his comrade, and Dexter is way too aggressive. Actually, no, it was Pain who was taken down. I thought it was the Superman, but I am wrong on that account. But still, this is a huge pick for them because right now there is no mage for XD Gaming to work with.
Remember, ExDee Gaming lost against our Abditory last time, and it's one of the weaknesses that was revealed from XD Gaming, is that their capability of fighting from behind. They're
gonna fighting from behind and slaps it to the wall. Zipfile, not having his ultimate, tries to run away, skedaddle from the fight, lasers into his back, and this is a crispy sea monster. Wait, one more smack. Boom! Shakalaka, there you go. Shut down by Dexter, but the Abyssal Dragon was taken by Serenity here.
Just when I was about to tell you guys a story about the weaknesses of XD Gaming, they just completely shut me up by just doing that. What you guys have seen. Dark Slayer is being taken by XD Gaming. Couple of seconds till Zipfile actually goes back online. We'll see who gets the last hit.
No mana here for Freaky, so he's gonna try! Oh! What has happened? Freaky steals it! They're gonna go for the kill. Lindis has gone down, and they are chipping members of Serenity though, but Serenity is going for the kills. Pain is right here with that Ignis, but his damage is just a bit too low with that Ignis. Level 9 already, shots were very low, but Dexter is going for the Smack and Tabadoo. He gets the kill, but 3 members of XD Gaming are down for the count. We'll have to return, as even though that is a top tier 1, will put looking to be an ace. Dexter tries to run away, as well as Shiny, who activates his ultimate in the middle of the fight, does get the shield, but the damage isn't going to be real. Freaky has gone down, as well as Sashwat, so they could actually be able to survive this. The tanks are going to be the one who will be tank, and they will be able to survive. And Serenity, still having 3 with that Joker in hand, can maybe take some turrets off of the hands of XD Gaming. Looking for that mid, it is very low, and one smack, one slap, and it is gone. Here we go for another fight. Pain has joined in onto the fray here, but he is not in any ways a very painful Ignis. He can be a little, he can scale up some damage over time, but right now his burst as a mage is very, very non-existent.
Indeed, and as you can see, XD Gaming not doing quite so well in these skirmishes. They're quite messy, as you can see, and Serenity is doing a very good job with their aggressive plays, and they have room to do so. But going back to XD Gaming, though, they still are keeping up with the gold lead, and that's a good sign, whereas that's the reason why I keep saying, hey, you still have no clear winner, as Superman dives in.
Superman dives in by himself, but this forces everybody from Serenity to actually use their ultimates over the wall. Might not be the best idea, but Freaky is going in. He gets crowd control. He goes down. Lindis is very low, but still she has that safety from at a distance, and now they are faltering one after the other. What is XD Gaming to do here to actually get this W? Serenity has the advantage, but now topsy-turvy, left and right, the board has been flipped, and now XD Gaming are smashing, are slashing, are destroying Serenity. Looky here, although he's one of the best players for Serenity, and he even gets a fadeaway onto Shiny, but with that fadeaway he loses some towers. And what just happened? Dexter looked to have been a quick and easy pick, but Serenity faltered through. Dexter smacks the face there like a speeding bullet, a moving train. Definitely a Superman to be feared. And Batman here on the sideways tries to do the best that he can to get the kill onto Kaz, but Kaz was just baiting that fight, and they're chasing them down. Although XD Gaming might be a bit too over-aggressive here, and they decide to be safe and back away.
Just remember the movement speed also. What do you call this? The movement speed from the allies actually help, reach that flight mode of Superman faster as well. So everything in their squad just helps what do you call this, buff up that Superman and make things make everything work in their side. But ExDee Gaming really playing well to equalize the goal. Obviously, Serenity is having a huge.
What is happening to Serenity? They are being compounded here by ExDee Gaming. Zipfile does have the ultimate, I believe, to be able to push them back, but he's... Oh, actually, he uses it. So this is going to be good for Serenity right now. Malik actually tries to zone out the members of ExDee Gaming, but the chase is just going to be too real. Shiny will be in the front of it all, and there goes the pop. Oh, he actually does not get the kill, and Batman gets away with his life. Darth Vader, on the other hand, is doing the best that he can, but the lasers coming out from the pupils of Superman take him away. And with that, mid-tier 2 has been broken down. Also 3. Look at Joker with the combination, though. Light is still not going to give up at all, but this Joker can only take down enemies one after the other. But as I say that, nice lineup with the Killing Joke. Can they stop right now the members of ExDee Gaming as they're looking for that comeback? Let's go here as Lindis takes out, or was taken out, by the Joker. It seems like they're going to try to do the best that they can, but still Shiny comes in from out of nowhere and shuts down the one. Has to back away as the defense of Serenity is still true. Take a bit of a breather, and that is what both of these teams will be doing, and so will I.
I wonder how the comms went on, because I know for a fact that Senil was just trying his best split pushing, which he actually managed to do his mission correctly, and because he was busy split pushing, and then Superman started to fight, and that's the reason why he had to use his angelic splendor. But you know what? All according to plan here. But Dark Slayer is actually being taken by Serenity right now. This could turn the tables again. This could be that pinpoint, whereas they could do a steal. They could do it again. They could be on the offensive mode this time around.
Oh, Shiny! Look at him, the one-man angelic army pushing back onto Light, forcing him to flicker away, and they have the control already. They force so many cooldowns from Serenity, and they open up that Dark Slayer low HP as well, so they have to heal up, but this Dark Slayer should be no more in a couple of seconds. Actually, one more hit as we hit that pause button, and with that DS buff, definitely spells a bit more of the doom here for Serenity. What just happened?
This game is so intense. This game is so close. Again, both of these teams, they scale quite a bit. They scale well into the late game. Both of these squads. I mean, you do have that burst coming from that Joker, but in a way, there should be a mode whereas you have, because for me, Joker sort of acts. You use all of his combos, and then you wait again, walk around a little bit. Maybe if you have auto attack, then that's the time. But most of the time, you really don't sacrifice your position just because you want something to do, right? But right now, for ExDee Gaming, they have Superman. They have... Actually, they're pretty consistent. They have a lot of consistent damage. Superman, on the other hand, will just keep lasering you, walk around, laser, walk around, rinse and repeat. And it's one of those things that's such a headache to deal with, because if you know, because for me, Batman is past his prime already. He's so good at snowballs, so good at the laning phase, because you could utilize his Dark Knight, his invisibility, to actually catch people hard during the laning phase. But it's not the laning phase anymore. Everybody's clumped up together. So find a pick that you need. You will easily get jumped upon in these 5v5 team fights.
Yeah, and like I said, what Batman does as this game progresses is that he doesn't really, burst people down if he doesn't snowball, but at least he has some utility to kind of scope out his opponents and maybe come from an angle that you don't really expect him to come out. But now ExDee Gaming don't care about that, because they are at that point where they can absorb all of the damage in the world. But as I say that, look at this. Freaky is going ham onto Pain, but look as Shiny goes in with a Zenial and saves his comrade with a sliver of HP. Pain still goes down though, but they put so much commitment into that one that ExDee Gaming is actually coming back from downtown. Dexter slaps onto Light as that Joker is down for the count. Crash as well should be down. No, he's not, but that core will be. And game number 2 claimed by ExDee. That is something that you don't see every day.
That game was so close though. It was back to back. Serenity had early game control. Totally understandable. They did a good job finding all these objectives, finding the fights that they needed to get into the game, to set the pace of the game. The problem is, when it was 5v5s already, they had a difficult time dealing with the Superman. And the mere fact that, again, I said, Joker sort of acts like a mage in terms of his, attack pattern. In comparison to ExDee Gaming, they have a lot of sustained damage. You see from earlier, from the very last 5v5 fight, the Superman, Dexter, was just bothering Light, and you saw Joker tried his best to escape, and none of the frontliners were trying to help create the space needed for Light to do, just Joker things. He's just trying to run away, and it didn't work out so well. We see Zipfile trying his best as well, but again, Dexter is just too slippery.
Yeah, but Superman aside, you have to give it to ExDee Gaming for, what looked like to have been a huge lead built by Serenity, right? Was only that. It looked like it was a huge lead. ExDee Gaming, for some unfathomable reason, at least for me, was able to still kind of keep that gold worth, or that gold stabilized. Maybe Serenity had like 2,000 or 3,000 ahead, but never really got to that point where it snowballed way out of control. And because they were able, actually, I think this was also because they split pushed well. Even though they lost teammates left and right, ExDee Gaming never really stopped trying to get control of the side lanes, trying to get those towers, and maybe that helped to them in being able to kind of, again, gap close that gold. And Serenity kept going for the kills, and even though kills were really nice and they were able to get some towers as well, at the end of the day, if you can't stop your opponent from getting objectives, you're still allowing them, some avenue of income that allows them to kind of come back. And they weren't really out of items when they went for fights.
Exactly. They were ExDee Gaming. Again, all these top tier teams, Serenity and ExDee Gaming, are pretty good in equalizing their losses. They make sure that whenever they enter the next fight, they're prepared. Oh, are we lacking? Are they one item ahead of us? Are the items? So they're pretty good at judging when to fight and when not to fight and back away. There's so many instances whereas Serenity just kept going and going. They kept winning the fights, but ExDee Gaming did so well. After that short breather, they would immediately try to farm. I think one of the patterns that you see from ExDee Gaming is that when they're in the lead, they don't give you time to farm at all. They just keep going. But if you see Serenity, there were little bits of breaks, little bits of breathers, and that's the reason why ExDee Gaming still kept up with the gold, even though it's not an even amount of gold equality. It's more of that they're still quite near. It's like 2K or just 3K gold lead.
And yeah, at the end of the day, I actually have to eat my words. Superman wasn't the only thing that allowed ExDee Gaming to win that, and it was a really legit chance that they were going to be able to kind of keep the pressure rolling. And even though, again, ExDee Gaming were also able to come back, you have to give it to Serenity. They had a lot of really good plays that they did on that second game, wherein they were able, I believe, to steal, what was it? Darkslayer, actually, yes, with Batman. Huge play from them. And even though they kind of put really close into the core there of ExDee Gaming, I guess it was also all up to kind of what happens when you reach that late game, wherein if tanks also have damage, or if tanks are just that disruptive, it becomes really, really difficult. As well as Serenity's composition as well. They do have the Crash, they do have the Maganga for team fights, and even the Malik as well, but I felt like, in terms of being too, how do I say this? Maganga has to be a little bit close to start off his DOTs.
Yes.
But all ExDee Gaming have to do is disposition or displace them a little bit, or run away, and then allow the Ignis to kind of drop his AoE. Same thing with what happened with the Dialchin a while ago. That was Unity. Yeah, Unity versus. Kind of the same thing here with ExDee Gaming and Serenity. Even though that Ignis kind of was a really easy pick on the earlier stages, since he still got his items, since he still got his income, he was able to at least still contribute to how XD Gaming's play style worked out well for them in those final fights.
Exactly, and that's the reason why I feel like there's a lot of improvements though from Serenity's play style. So I'm guessing this game number 3 could be a little bit more different. Let's take a look at our MVP of the match. We've got Dexter. It's not gonna be on the field. It's gonna be that Superman. Again, Serenity had the choice to either first pick Superman or first pick something else. They did that Joker route, which I think is not a bad idea. What do you think if ever they decided to just settle for that Preda? Because Joker Preda did only lost one match based from coverage. And it seems to me it's one of those team compositions that plays well at the, if you're playing from behind, it's good for our defense mode, phase rather. And I feel like that comp could have worked out as well. It's good for sieging if also you're pretty much in the lead in terms of map control. So it could be a choice that they could make if ever given the scenario where they could pick up the Joker again. But they're going to be switching sides. It's XD Gaming on blue side. So, they have the prio pick. So let's see what's going to happen later in the draft.
I feel like it's going to be a Murad again. If what happened here is that, XD Gaming bans out the Joker and then Serenity bans out the Superman, we're going to be seeing a Murad XD Gaming. I feel like it's going to be about 90% sure about that. I could be wrong here, but I mean, don't fix what ain't broke. And Serenity, on the other hand, well, it feels like they're on the back end here. I felt like being a first pick player, especially when they kind of locked in that Joker for light. They thought that, okay, we have our comfort pick here, but because we allowed that Superman, that put a really, really huge wrench in their plans. If they got the Superman first and then maybe hope that their opponents didn't get the Joker, it would have been fine. Even if they did, I felt like Joker would have been a really difficult task, but not a hard task compared to like battling a Superman. But of course, this is just about the drafting. I'm really curious to see how they're going to be going for the third drafting phase here. So what do you think?
I think one of the things that Serenity, or rather XD Gaming, did is to try to cut out the global presence because we only saw one. The reason why is because I think Murad was banned and then Max was banned. So this would leave the option: do I pick Superman or do I pick Max? Seniel rather. Do I pick Seniel? So that would leave me the only person that could immediately jump, or the only team that could have that global presence in the battlefield. So there's a lot of options again for that blue side. So if it happens again, let's say for example, XD Gaming bans out that Joker, and I, again, as Serenity, am torn. Do I ban the Murad? Do I ban out the Superman? So there's a lot of things, there's a lot of ways to approach this. And if you let that Murad out again, it's going to be a huge headache. And we'll just have to see. It could go either way, honestly. And the only reason why is because XD Gaming has been showing a lot flexibility. I know they've played Diao Chan as well in some of the previous matchups before in, I believe that's day number 2. And it just shows how whatever you put in the mid lane and even the kind of flexibility that they have to offer as well. I mean, our mid laner, Dexter could a side lane, and anything can happen.
So I believe we are going to be taking a very quick break in just a bit, but yeah. So we're just gonna mull over this a little bit more. Game number 3 is already match point here for XD Gaming. One more win, and they'll be your grand finalists, or your champions here for our AOV India Summer Championship Tournament. Definitely, they have shown to be like you said, a flexible team. I mean, super flexible. Like basically a bendy or no.
Bendy straw.
I don't know what's a super flexible thing here, but basically rubber band. You can twist it as much as you can, and they will, or a gum or a clay. You can mold it as much as possible, and it can just go in any shapes and size. I believe that's not flexible, but still, you know what I'm talking about. Serenity, on the other hand, they have shown a lot of ingenuity, and I'm always like excited to see what they're going to bring to the table, and they're performing really well. But now we're just going to go into a very short break, and when we get back, game number 3, is it make or break, or will Serenity come back with the reverse sweep? Again, this is the Arena of Valor India Summer Championship, presented by Tencent and produced by Tesseract. My name is Astra. Here with me is Riku, and you might be able to see Luxuria and I Request a Duel later. But now, break time.
Hello, and welcome to Arena of Valor. Not satisfied with only watching the matches taking place in the 2018 World Cup? Well, this summer, you can get in the game with a new football mode featuring an all-new map, Fantasy Island. In football mode, you're no longer required to push lanes, destroy towers, or defeat enemies. That's right, you're being liberated from the traditional MOBA gameplay. These matches only last 4 minutes, so you can pick up your mobile device for a casual, fast, and thrilling AOV football match anytime, anywhere. Not only have we added a morale system to make the football experience feel more realistic, but we've also developed 3 new abilities just for this mode: Kick, Block, and Gravity. The new Kick ability is highly flexible. Not only can it be used to shoot, but it can also be used for passing, allowing you to coordinate with your teammates. The Block ability can be used to stop the opposing team's offense on its tracks. As everyone knows, an impenetrable defense is key to victory. Even if you fall behind in this mode, there's no reason to be discouraged. The morale system provides the trailing team with more chances to cast Gravity, the new ultimate ability. We're using new technology in this mode that regardless of which team you're in, your own goal is always blue, and the opponent's goal is always red. So you never have to worry about kicking the ball in the wrong direction. We've also created a weather system for football mode that adds a new dimension to the AOV experience. Don't hold back. Let your imagination and creativity run wild with gameplay that can only be experienced on Fantasy Island. Unfortunately, ranged heroes will not be taking part in this mode. Their normal attacks would allow them to kick the ball from afar, confusing other players as to who kicked the ball and from where. The unique traits of each hero allow for endless team possibilities. Try out different combinations of heroes and experiment with what works best. We expect there are lots of undiscovered hero groupings just waiting to be found. Who knows? Maybe you'll invent a powerful team that's never been tried before and dominate the field. All heroes will retain their original abilities. However, in the name of sportsmanship, the damage caused by those abilities has been removed. Only their control effects remain. To prevent certain heroes from becoming too powerful in this mode, we've adjusted some of their movement speeds. We've also created football-themed skins for Valheim, Murad, Tulin, Zenial, and Max. A truly excellent player has more than just amazing skill. A truly excellent player is always prepared to take advantage of the unpredictable weather. Use the weather effects to improve your situation on the field. You might be surprised by the possible outcomes. Exciting, right? Round up some friends and prepare to experience the thrill of AOV's upcoming football mode.
Welcome to the hero spotlight of Max the Wonderkind. Enemies escaping? Not from Max. Max is great at chasing them down. Think you're safe from Max? Think again. Man's ultimate, Liftoff, can go through the enemy's team even if the target is on the other side. With Liftoff, no enemy running low can ever hope to escape from Max the Wonderkind. Recall interrupted. Passive static shock. Every time Max damages an enemy, the enemy gets shocked, causing them to suffer true damage every second and have their health regeneration reduced. Static shock can be used together with Tome of the Reaper or Curse of Death's Soul prison effect, as this shuts down heroes that can heal quickly, such as Tara and L'Oreal. First ability, Bionic Blender. Max spins his robot arms around, dealing physical damage to enemies. Every time he hits an enemy, his movement speed will be increased. Bionic Blender's movement speed boost can be stacked. There are 2 ways of doing this. First way involves hitting multiple targets at once to gain a huge speed boost. While the second way is to reduce Bionic Blender's cooldown through items such as Spear of Longinus, using Bionic Blender to hit the enemy again before Max loses the movement speed boost. Second ability, Smooth Moves. Max rushes towards his target and flips over them, landing on their opposite side. Once on the other side, Max activates a magnetic force field that reduces his damage taken. This ability can be used again within 4 seconds. Smooth Moves is indeed a hidden dash ability, and Max can use it to hit targets and pass through certain obstacles. Watch out! Ultimate Liftoff. Max fires trackers that attach to all enemy heroes for a short time. The trackers allow allies to see the enemy's locations and interrupt enemy recall actions. While the trackers are active, Max can then select an enemy to track and ram into by holding down the ability button. Ramming into the enemy deals physical damage and knocks them back. If Max takes too long to select an enemy, then he will have to fire the trackers again. When Max lands, he activates a magnetic force field that reduces his damage taken, increases his resistance by 30%, and shocks all nearby enemies. Pressing the ability again while Max is tracking an enemy will cancel the attack, making Max land immediately and activate his force field. Max doesn't have to ram into the enemy every time when using Liftoff. If enemy heroes are sticking together and are tough to kill, then Max can tap Liftoff again to cancel it in order to avoid getting caught outnumbered. Want to become epic with Max? 1. Smooth Moves damage reduction will still be in effect on second activation. Use it again right after the first part to achieve maximum damage reduction. 2. Bionic Blender is Max's main damage dealer and minion wave clearer. It also has a very short cooldown, so always level up with this ability first, followed by Smooth Moves, and then level up his ultimate Liftoff whenever it is available. 3. Max is really good at chasing down the enemy. I mean really good at chasing them down. So he doesn't really need Flicker to initiate. However, he may lack the damage to finish off targets, so take Execute for that extra damage reach. 4. Liftoff can also be used as an escape tool. When Max is running low and being chased down, he can use Liftoff to ram into an enemy at another location. After he reaches a safe place, he can then cancel Liftoff to complete his escape. 5. Max should always pay attention to the mini-map. When he sees targets that are running low, he should get close and use Liftoff to finish them off. A common combo for Max is to first use Liftoff to charge forward. Follow it up with Smooth Moves for control, followed by Bionic Blender to deal damage.
And we are back here at the Arena of Valor India Summer. My name is Asarai. Here with me now is Riku, and possibly joining us later will be Luxuria, as well as I request a duel. Well, you all know what happened after or before that break. Serenity game number 2 looked to have that match in the bag, but you know, the cat's out of the bag, and that cat was ExDee Gaming.
ExDee Gaming is so close to winning this grand finale, and the thing is, Serenity, they've been doing so well, except that it's not as, what do you call this? It's not as snowbally as when ExDee Gaming does it. You know, sometimes you don't know what hit you, and suddenly, what, the game is over? What are we gonna do? So I think that's what Serenity needs. I mean, they have that Batman pick, they have that surprise pick, but then it didn't work out so well, because for that pick to actually work, you have to keep on with your lead, find all these fights, keep winning, and starve your opponent of resources. But let's take a look at our roster once again. For ExDee Gaming, for their offlaner, it's going to be Shiny X, Mage is going to be Dexter, Marksman is Kaz, Jungler is Pain, and Observer is Blastoise.
And as for Serenity, Darth Vader will be playing as the offlaner. Shashwat on the Mage role, like will be the Marksman. Freaky Friday on the Jungler file, and extract that as the Observer.
Yes, sirree. And again, we saw how ExDee Gaming is quite flexible. Even though we saw Dexter as the mage, we saw Dexter being placed at the top side of the map on the sidelines of that Superman, and Payne actually switched up with the mage. So there's a lot of flexibility and versatility going on in ExDee Gaming side. So if ever for some reason someone doesn't know how to play a certain hero, some of the members of ExDee Gaming will be like, I got you, fam. Here, I can cover that Superman since Superman is open.
And I mean, sorry, I'm just kind of like mulling over what happened on that second game. It's never gonna rub off me on my mind, rather, because it was just Serenity should have had it in the bag. And you were talking about how Batman kind of loses lust as the game progresses, but I mean, Serenity were so close at breaking those tier 3 towers, and then one wrong step and it just faltered so close. Like they were such a frail composition when that latest stages came through. And I was talking with Duel a while ago, and I asked him what he thought happened there. It was just because he said that the composition was. I'll try to go for his one. The composition was just too late game, and totally. That. And I
don't think he sounds like that.
I don't know. I tried. Okay, I just tried it.
I thought you were going to go for his accent as well.
I can. It's too awesome. But anyways, I totally agreed with him on that one. It just went to the point wherein they will ExDee Gaming could have absorbed so much damage, and Serenity on the other hand had to be very careful to pick their fights. You saw there, Batman at one point was able to kind of 1v1 Payne, although Shiny or 1v1 Payne on the Ignis, and then Shiny goes in with the Zenial, helps him at 2v1, and even though Payne does go down, it used up all the resources of that Batman to kind of survive that fight. And if you think about it, it should have been like a 4 versus 3 on the other side of the battle, right? But Superman slaps everybody into a very awkward angle by himself, and he just set the pace of that game. That was insane.
Yeah, he's in charge of the light duties. I will be in charge of keeping tabs on light, making sure he doesn't do light things, Joker things, and it worked out wonders for them. The tower dive was successful, and they managed to finish down the core. And there's other things that they could do in the draft later on, which we have discussed previously before the break entered. And one of those things is the elimination of one of the global presence heroes, such as Max and Senial. Either ban the Max and then pick up that Senial, therefore leaving that strategy of being at two places at the same time and being able to just fly to your team's rescue whenever it is needed. So it will just leave the team from that split pushing capabilities or having to run down from two opposite sides of the map. So I think that's one of the what do you call this? That's
strategy.
one thing ExDee Gaming aimed for when they banned out that Max, and also tearing Serenity apart. Will you pick up the Joker because it's so important to you, or will you pick up the Superman, which is just very strong in the meta right now?
Yeah, I mean, it just all came down. Again, part of the battles in any kind of is the drafting phase. If you're able to get the picks that you want, the win condition that you set in your mind with that particular type of composition definitely just becomes easier and easier. And for Serenity, they put themselves in a perspective wherein they had the win condition in supposedly winning that early game and just leave it at that. Win the early game. If they were able to transition it into mid to the late, they would have had a very, very difficult time, because again, we have some pretty beefy characters from ExDee Gaming to try and kind of pinch or pierce through all of that tankiness, and it didn't really happen for them. And like you said, maybe we'll see again ExDee Gaming take out the Max out and steal the Zenial for themselves, have that gold presence hero available. But I kind of wish that we see a team that doesn't rely on the global presence. I know that it's very strong. I'm never going to say that it's not. But if you find a composition or a certain playstyle that counters, or at least you're able to kind of null and void the global presence, and I think you finish or you kind of bully the Zenial, maybe go against like a Lubu versus Zenial, and then Lubu Zenial tethered there, and he split pushes 1v1. Maybe that's something that they can use, but again, this is all just in my head. Definitely would want to see that. Although game number 3 draft is underway, so she's rubbing her hands. Let's get into it.
Oh, there you go. It's the Joker.
Superman.
So open, you can get the Senial Superman, or maybe not. Give it to ExDee Gaming again, because with the Max, because I believe Superman is a pretty effective Abyssal Dragon laner as well. And I kind of doubt it that Serenity will pick up Superman because you're already locked in your 2 side laners. So in terms of flexing it, I don't think it's going to be available. So later on, ExDee Gaming can just pick whatever they want. And if they want to, they can last pick Superman if it's very important or if it's very, detrimental to their composition. Wonder Woman, we haven't really seen Wonder Woman for these past few instances, but I guess she's making a comeback into the series. And Violet has been one of those go-to heroes by Light whenever Joker has been banned. But there you go. I won't really be surprised. Again, Serenity giving away the Superman and locking in a secondary, the 2 side laners at the first rotation. Preda, I like the Preda pick, but again, there's so many choices. ExDee Gaming with a mid lane Raz. My mind's blown.
Freda's not going to have an easy time going up against the Raz. It's because, again, Preda Wave and the Poison Gas Bomb, I believe that was his second skill, is very easily dodged by the Raz. Activate the skill of your own, use that passive to kind of dash, squeeze left and right, and it's very easy to, dodge the skill shots here of the Preda. And I mean, like you said, it's gonna be a tall task once again for Serenity to go up against this Superman. But I feel like Serenity on that game number 2, we're confident going up against it. And game number 3, they're still confident. And if they can get that early game once again, if they can win the early game and not replicate what happened after the early game on game number 2, I feel that we are going to be seeing a game number 4.
Exactly. I'm so excited for this match because Serenity, I know what's going on. I know that Superman is going to be insta-locked, insta-picked by ExDee Gaming. We know how the hero works. But at the same time, it just means that they're confident with his composition. It means that, okay, we just want the Superman, we want the Sentinel. Because I really think it's one of those things whereas I feel like Sentinel is being picked too early. Either the reason why you picked Sentinel too early is to not reveal your composition, but I'd rather secure my top picks first rather than revealing a strategy because I don't know, because again, I don't think Sentinel is going to be picked anyways. I bet it's going to be Superman, so I guess I set my piece on the draft, so let's head on over to the game.
Yeah, I mean, again, as we get into the game, ExDee Gaming were, I did say that they were the team that emphasizes...
I mean, Preda Wave. Preda and as well as the Crest, really good for sieging, really good for wave clear as well. If you're fighting in the lead, but Kaz here in that Lindis pick, just poking down Freaky at the bot side of the map, getting spotted by Zipfile as well, and they're just finding the correct timing. Maybe perhaps make a pick first, or try to chip down a couple of HP to low health just so that they could push them back to base, and that would give them more space to actually get that Abyssal Dragon.
Space indeed for the Abyssal Dragon is there ready with a little bit of that starting poke, especially on the Wonder Woman who's supposed to be in the middle of the fight. Definitely you don't want that to happen, but the Violet, you were able to see him. I believe that was Light, who kind of poked out the Raz a little bit. So I think now Raz has to be a little bit careful in kind of like approaching that fight because he is heavily outranged by the Violet, and it's going to be an easy picking if he kind of, lingers too long around that particular vicinity. Now, as for preparation of that Abyssal Dragon, both top laners, on the other hand, I believe are still both level 3. So Angelic Splendor and Liftoff off the table for the meantime for both of these teams. But as I say that, I think they are about to hit the... So whoever gets the ultimate first might have a bigger impact in this fight.
Indeed. So it's all a matter. It could be a potential of 4v4 still at the Abyssal Dragon, or maybe not a skirmish at all, because I feel like the strategy for XD Gaming is to try to scare them away a little bit. Most of their heroes don't even have their level 4, as you've mentioned, especially the observers, as they try to roam and move around too much, therefore not being able to absorb the experience either on the lanes such. And I guess I'm expecting a lot from Light here on this Violet, mainly because it's one of their priorities, obviously, when it comes to picks and bans. I mean, having to Joker for your Light, and as well as today, Violet did a phenomenal performance when it was picked, or when it was banned back then, when Serenity went up against Unity earlier. So I'm really expecting a lot from this Violet. And there is what I keep mentioning about the Alice pick, whereas it enables you to keep that pre-level 4 or early game contestation, and as well as trying to get that disengage in, those punish potential as well is possible. But I keep forgetting, Alice is not on the side of Serenity. It's actually on the side of XD Gaming. So with Serenity, they have the crash. So again, the jump siege tactics, dive into like 3 people and just focus on the tower. I didn't quite spot if he had disrupt. I guess we'll check back if he did wear disrupt or heal. I'm not quite sure. But then again, it's all about execution. We've seen time and time again how XD Gaming, when they lock in this Lindis pick, they just want pure aggression during the early phases of the game. If they win 2 or 3 skirmishes, then they would keep invading your jungle. And this is the strategy that they've been applying to the past matches from day number 1 on towards this day. If they get ahead, they will not stop. They'll starve you of your resources and give you a harder time getting back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be something that Serenity has to kind of work around for. The starving part, or the starving of resources, is definitely how to say this, an option here right now for XD Gaming, just because you said there is that Lindis. Another thing that I really love about this this Alice is that because she has that thought though, as Darth Vader is now fighting out pain, he is in no man's land and goes down. You're gonna try to at least punish them for taking away at that Raz, but this is XD Gaming going a little bit too over aggressive, and they lose 2 while Serenity are still fighting Dandy. This is their jungle, and XD Gaming gave that away. And if only they had the Abyssal Dragon, that would be a sweet follow-up here for Serenity.
All they wanted was the might buff, but per timing, Serenity's majority of their were at the right place at the right time. They anticipated one of those aggressive plays from XD Gaming, which I think Serenity can keep capitalizing. I mean, they're doing a great job just countering these plays, and I think that's one of the weaknesses of XD Gaming, is that if they fail the early game, then it's not in their element. But take a look at that dive onto Ruby.
I mean, they just lost an invade on the top, and they're still not done with it yet. This is how they set the pace of the early game. Serenity has yet to adjust to this one, but they are looking for the same thing on the top side. But because they only use 2 people to actually go for that invade, and these 2 people don't even have insane damage. Maybe the Violet? Wait, was that the Violet with the Zenyatta harassing? Oh no, that was Crash and Zenyatta. Now the Violet has joined in. Never really going to be a kill, but now that they have that Violet on the top side, they will at least be able to get that tower, although no kills will be had. But they wasted a lot of time, and that Abyssal Dragon is free pickings here for XD Gaming, unless they get the steal. They don't get a steal.
Yes, there is no steal. Darth Vader does have punish, so if he wants to try and jump in or walk at the same instance, I think we had a game where the Wonder Woman walked into the Abyssal Dragon pit with like 5 enemies, and whoop-de-doo, press that punish button, tap that, and easy steal. But you know what? We're at the grand finals. XD Gaming doing a good job in protecting objectives, and Serenity with equalizing the objective taking as well, knowing the fact that they've invested, like XD Gaming invested resources just to secure that Abyssal Dragon. Let's take top. Let's apply pressure, because later.
Okay.
Oh my God!
I thought they were gonna for a second there.
You startled me a little bit, but oh, here comes
Oh,
the
there you
fight.
go. I was just looking for a fight, and now they bring it to me. And there is the Zenial activating that ultimate of his. Look at the Max, waiting for that perfect time to actually go for the lift off and just, you know, be able to take out opponents left and right. Now he activates it, but still, members of XD Gaming are hella freaking low. If they line up, this could be huge. There is Shiny, and now can he actually execute opponents here as that Crest zip file is being so much of a hassle. They're trying their best to go to the very edges of the base of Serenity, and XD Gaming is playing out of their minds. What are they doing? They are going for that much of risk, and at the end of the day, it is a 3-for-3 exchange. Serenity was actually able to get so much out of that one as well, and XD Gaming getting, well, a little bit stable at the same time, but XD Gaming is aggressive on a whole other level here.
Yeah, that was so deep. I mean, even the tier 1 turrets are not even that damaged at all, and they were aiming for the kills. Again, aggression is key. They took a risk, hoping that perhaps it would be a clean sweep and they could just take all the resources to the junk camps after, and then transition to the Abyss Dragon, and then hopefully transition to that mid turret. But that did not happen because Serenity did a good job in countering that play, and in exchange for that Sentinel, we'll just try to wait for the right opportunity. Serenity just waiting in the mid lane and just clearing down the waves as they wait for the next objective. But I don't see the Raz at the moment. Oh, there's a fight after that.
There's a fight indeed. Crash activating that metamorphosis, but look at Dexter. He goes for the one swipe, goes in for the second, and he controls the entire fight. My goodness, this guy is on a freaking rampage, giving that Superman might be not the best of ideas here. Darth Vader goes in for the smash, and he cannot find this Superman in the midst of it all, although 2v2 in the mid lane as Wonder Woman joins in onto that one. But this is Shiny on the max, plus the Alice, lots of control, lots of tankiness to be able to absorb the damage. And you were looking for the Raz, he's actually in the bottom lane looking for that bottom tier 1, but of course Light will be able to defend that, and it still survives with about a hair of an HP. 1v1 into the top lane. Who will win? Darth Vader or Shiny? The Max or the Zenial? Looks like the Zenial does actually have a double buff here, so it should be fine and dandy. And look at Dexter. The balls on this man. The confidence on this guy to just go in and slam down that AoV turret in the bottom lane by his lonesome, and even no fear against the possibility of the Wonder Woman punishing him for that shenanigan.
You can see Light trying his best to keep up with gold, as spending so much time in the jungle, making sure that in the next fight, I will be ready, I will be prepared, I will provide you the damage that you need, as we might have to wait for Preda to come online here with the bursts of damage. So they're gonna have to rely on the Violet at this 8-minute mark into the game, because there's so many shields provided at XD Gaming. So it's gonna be a little bit tricky to track someone down, and the mobility provided as well. Looks like a fight might start soon.
Spirit Sentinel is a target here, but Shiny activates his liftoff and looks for an opening. Crash with that huge metamorphosis actually was able to give that opening for this Violet to actually shut down a Superman. But look at this, because of that, they are just being cannon fodder to every single member here of XD Gaming. The AoE damage is real, and the tank is gone, but more of Serenity's members are even downed upon pain. Nakadabadoo. The Razzmatazz, those fists of fury, just going in, blazing. You know, the glory is there for pain. He gets the one shot down. 4K for XD Gaming. This Dark Slayer is primed and ready for the taking.
Wow, Raz with the flicker plays, and even though Dexter fell on that battle, it was totally worth it. They potentially get a mid-tier turret. They have eliminated the not the Crash, but the Preda. And as well as getting the Dark Slayer. So much space created from that one sacrifice there. So that was amazingly done by XD Gaming. Serenity was at the right place at the right time, but I'm not quite sure if they have the necessary damage just yet to try and counter all that full force from the side of XD Gaming. And as you can see, and as you can tell, if I am a Raz and I'm in that comfortable position to use a flicker play at that point, it just means how much in terms of draft lead, not really draft lead, how much they are in a comfortable position to do those flashy plays.
They are in a comfortable position to do that flashy play as Zenial goes down, no more response whatsoever, and Zip File, boop! This Crushed is crushed in the top lane, leaving the top tier 2 to be easy pickings for ExDee Gaming, looking for that first tier 3 tower in game number 3. We are so close for ExDee Gaming to winning this tournament, and Serenity, all they can do now is try to defend, but look at this. One has gone down. Oh, hold that thought. Freaky does have the shield, he gets away, but that core is exposed, and is that looking to be a mighty fine, juicy objective to take down already, but ExDee Gaming are holding on to their horses. They are holding on, and Serenity on the knife's edge already. There is the shiny coming in from the back line. He goes in for the kill. 3 deaths for Serenity here, and Freaky from, what the hell was that? From core, was he put to the back, the very back of ExDee Gaming because of the Superman? I am not sure. And now Zipfile is just the one man trying to defend it all. There's the Predator coming in from the respawn, but Zipfile should go down. He's still alive. One more smack at Dabadoo, and he gone for the count. There is the Predator wave, but Shashwat is now Shash gone, and this is the core. 1, 2, 3. Can they get it? They go for the win, and that's ExDee Gaming for our game number 3. They are your grand final champions.
I have no words. XD Gaming dominated the scene, and here they are right now. Such a strong finish. 3-0, all 3 games. So amazingly done. XD Gaming, congratulations. All these Superman games, all these Max games, everything is so calculated. And knowing the fact that the star player on the opposite side, which was Light, they immediately just focused. Look at that Max, just charging in to Light, just trying to stop their main damage dealer, their consistent main damage dealer, and he sacrificed himself. And it was so worth it because he took that marksman down, and all that's left is the Crushed. And they did so well. They were patient. They were very they were calculative, and at that point you can tell, man, XD Gaming is just one hell of a...
Yeah, I mean, my favorite part there was Dexter on the Superman put Freaky from base to the middle of top lane. What was just that? And here you go, you're seeing a replay of that core destruction. What a game. Congratulations to XD Gaming to becoming our grand champions here at the Summer Championship of Arena of Valor India. What a amazing performance coming out from them. Serenity, on the other hand, did a fantastic job at making it very difficult for XD Gaming to kind of muddle through these 3 games. Definitely, I feel like if Serenity had a bit more, I feel like, closer in their strat or in their, how they play their game, definitely would have been able to kind of, finish out these games. And I mean, you can't really put out of the equation any of these players. Any of them could have taken out XD Gaming. And I think like next season, we'll be seeing even more teams try to reach the top here. And I'll be excited to catch that once again.
Yeah, I mean, for me, look at that. 3-0 best of 5 series. XD Gaming played 3 different mid laners in 3 different instances. I believe it's the L'Oreal, Ignis, and then Class. And we keep saying this. XD Gaming has just a wide range of hero pool, and the drafting plays a huge role here. And their strategy, their macro, their micro presence, everything. I am just very, very happy and would like to congratulate XD Gaming for winning this grand finale.
Yeah, and are we going to have, not yet, the MVP of the match first? It's going to be Shiny on that Max. He was able to kind of muddle through all of that team fight. Was, like I said, he waits for the fight to second or 2, and then looks for a prime target to execute first and then make the follow-ups. He did such a good job for that one. But again, I feel like everybody from XD Gaming was an MVP on that one. And they just did such a great, I guess, just teamwork overall.
Yeah, their synergy, their communication, focus You can tell everything is pretty much polished on ExDee Gaming side. There are a few instances, perhaps, of overexcitedness, I guess, when it comes to team fighting. But overall, they're really, really good at what they do, and super happy and honored to actually, being able to cast and witness how everything went for the summer champion.
Yeah, true that. And they'll be able to take home the majority of our prize pool, which is again 5 lakh rupees plus Arena of Valor t-shirts. Oh, so good AOV t-shirts. Betcha, I actually have to love to get my hands on some of those shirts as well. And again, aside from that, we would like to thank you, everybody who was watching this tournament. And there you go, our winners for today. For the third place, it is Unity.
Yes, Unity. For our second place is Serenity. And you know what's up. The first place goes to
ExDee Gaming. Loving it. Look at those icons. Okay, so Unity is an eagle. Serenity looks like to be twin snakes. And ExDee Gaming is a hawk.
I guess.
I think a hawk. I guess a hawk too. I feel like an eagle has a wider wingspan. But anyways, all badass looking logos there from all of our teams who were able to get their placements here in our summer championship. Definitely such a great 4 days, honestly. I'm pretty sure we're all kind of exhausted and tired, but it was worth it to see this tournament unfold from the round of 32, 64.
64. We started with 60 teams, and then as the days go by, it became 32, 16, 8, and then we're now down to our finals. And now the journey has ended for tonight. We saw how all the teams struggled and all their victories, and it was just so happy to see the different metas, the different crafts and strategies that we've seen tonight, or actually from the 4-day tournament from the Summer Championships. And I'm just so excited to see ExDee Gaming at the Asian Games.
Actually, yeah, definitely something to look forward to. And aside from that, definitely would want to thank our other co-casters who joined us, Luxuria and I Request a Duel. If you're there, guys, give a bit of to our viewers who were able to hear your sweet and succulent voices.
And as well as the audience who are watching the stream from their homes, thank you so much for being with us in this journey. I'm pretty sure you guys have enjoyed all those intense, high-impact esports action from India, and we're hoping to see more from this region.
And of course, and aside from that, thank you so much to the production team, Tesseract Esports, for inviting us, as well as being able to provide us with a setup to be able to cast these games pretty kick-ass. And again, to the presenter of this tournament, Tencent, for without them, we will not have Arena of Valor. And again, we are just waiting for our final remarks. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. I have heard the voice of God, and he has told me that, and we are about to it down. Yo, and for the last time, this is the Arena of Valor India Summer Championship. Grand Finals has concluded. My name is Asrai. Here with me now is Riku, and we were also joined by iRequest as well as Luxuria. And again, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, as well as Tesseract Esports and Tencent for making all of this possible. So for the last time, guys, ciao and goodbye.
try and pick up the kills necessary. Lori out, dodging out so much damage from the boss. Actually gets the trade-off.